Hey there, you're listening to You Still Going On About That with Rob Israel and Joseph K. You can find us anywhere you could download podcasts. You could also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at YSGOAT. Thanks for listening. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
You still going on about
that?
All right, Joseph. December 7th.
Yeah, a day that has lived in infamy.
Why? What happened on December 7th?
It was Pearl Harbor Day.
Oh, jeez. I forgot to make my famous Pearl Harbor soup.
You did not. So I suppose that you're not going to get a visit from the Pearl Harbor ferry tonight, or
yeah, the Pearl Harbor kamikaze pilot.
My Aunt Diane was born on the literal Pearl Harbor Day, the day the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. And
was she at Pearl Harbor?
No, she was born in New Jersey, and she was the youngest in my mom's family. And at the hospital, they painted all the windows black to black out the light, so they were afraid that they might get bombed or whatever. And so, yeah, well, I don't know.
Yeah, it's true. You never know. I mean,
it's near the coast. I mean, it's not like you're in Iowa or something.
Whole others, yeah.
Well, they didn't know if it's like going to be maybe now like German bombers.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, and anyway, my mom always told my Aunt Diane that they blacked out all the windows in the hospital because she was born and so ugly.
What the fuck? Who said that to her?
My mom told my Aunt Diane that they blacked out all the windows in the hospital on the day she was born.
Nice. What a nice thing to say. That's the kind of thing that doesn't stick to somebody.
Sibling rivalry at its best. So anyway,
but was it true though, Joseph?
No, she was a beautiful woman. She was
okay.
Yeah.
All right, good. So it was that kind of funny, not like she was. No, she was hideous, dude. She had like
she's.
You ever see Sharon Dory? Now imagine that, but like crazier.
Yeah, like a living Picasso.
The Toxic Avenger. Thought she'd be jealous of the symmetry in that. That's the Toxic Avenger.
So yeah, no. So that's my. So it is December 7th, a day that shall live in infamy. Being Pearl Harbor
Day. The day that John Voight played Franklin Roosevelt, I think, in Pearl Harbor, the movie.
Oh yeah, I never saw that. That was Ben Affleck was in that. And,
I saw like maybe like a couple minutes here and there. It looked dumb as fuck.
Yeah,
like I might want to just watch it for like a giggle. I did see one scene though. It's like a powerful scene where John Voight, plays Franklin Roosevelt, and he's so angry about what happened that he stands up on his own.
Oh, okay. Nice.
And I'm like, no.
Not how science works.
No, that's not how that works. You can be as mad as you want, but he has like polio or something.
It's like gonna regrow nerves.
Yeah, like all that sheer determination isn't gonna
make you
stand up at anger. I guess once he got happy though, feet just collapsed,
Right.
Oh, is that chocolate? Blah! He falls down.
Well, yeah, but it's
chocolate pudding.
It's December 7th. The year is almost done. I've done the vast.
Wait, isn't it also like when did Pearl Harbor happen? 41, right?
Yeah, it would have been 41.
Okay, we're already past that. Never mind.
Yeah, no, it's not like a significant anniversary of that.
Who gives a shit?
Well,
when we get to 85 or 90, then I'll have a little more of a
it'll be a little retro.
When we get to a good Kissinger age, that we're calling 100 years old now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kissinger's.
The Kissinger of death. The Kissinger.
No, it's a Kissinger.
Oh, like a Scaramucci, like you've lived.
Yeah, like you lived a full Kissinger.
Right, like I've lived a little over half a Kissinger.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Instead of saying this person lived 100 years, we're gonna say, you lived 100 horrible human beings.
Right.
We're gonna name it after our fucking ghoul. You lived a full Kissinger. Wait, was I a bad person? I don't know, man. That's for you to judge. I mean, you did a little full Kissinger. You got a lot to look back.
It was glad. I was glad to see him pass along But then we almost immediately thereafter lost Shane McGowan, which seems like a brutal trade-off.
Yeah, well,
Um,
then then what's her face died? That Supreme Court justice who gave us George
oh,
W.
so,
Bush.
yeah, I've never really understood why people loved her. So, I mean, I get like the
Nah,
significance of being
bitch,
the first.
you gave us George W. Bush.
Yeah,
You go to hell. Like, what
so
was her name again?
Sandra Day O'Connor.
Yes, and Dale. Fuck off. Like, I'm serious. Like, you gave George W. Bush. The one thing, talk about all the nonsense that goes on with Trump and everything like that.
Yeah.
But like 2000 was the beginning and the end of this fucking country. Like when the Supreme Court refused to wait, like if the votes came in Florida, Gore probably would have been president.
Oh
And the
yeah,
Supreme
yeah,
Court refused to. They pushed it along, and Sandra Day O'Connor was one of those votes. We knew Clarence Thomas was going to vote for, the guy
yeah.
whose son was the father of put him in there in a permanent seat. We knew Alito or Scalia, whatever his fucking name was.
Yeah.
We knew all those
Scalito.
well, I don't know, the other scumbags back then. We knew that they were going to put Bush. Now she was conservative, right? She considered conservative.
She was. I think Reagan put her on the court.
And she was the first female judge, right?
Yeah, the first that's why she was famous is that she was the first female justice of the United States Supreme
Did they
Court.
when they did her hearing, did they ask her what her cookie recipe was?
Yeah, she was. I think she was like a moderate conservative. I think that I don't know. I probably should have been a little more attuned to this, but I'll bet you
That's
she was
okay. We
like
didn't have that. That's not on the list.
she was probably like a George Bush senior conservative.
So
Um,
her dad was a Nazi who
she
worked
she
with the
was
Nazis and everything, like his dad did.
she was real smart. I know she went to Stanford because I remember that, and I think she was from Arizona. Um, but she was conservative. I mean, she was
I mean,
you're
I guess
right.
it wasn't a shock. So whatever, she did what
Yeah,
she was put in the court to do, and she gave us George W. Bush, which led
yeah,
to every shitty thing in the past
a
23
lot
years.
of them for sure. Yeah.
Oh,
Um, so anyway, but
made sure to cement Reagan's shitty record for another couple of decades.
yeah.
You
Honestly,
know?
I would have guessed she had already passed. I did not realize
Yeah,
she was still
no, yeah.
alive.
That's why I was like when the three people died, I was like, oh no. I'm like, no, you can't put Shane McGowan with those ghouls. Like
No,
that
no.
guy, there was a great, I think it was like the Hard Times or something. Like he died in the 60s, but in Irish poet years, he lived till like 110. That
Yeah.
guy has been dying since I met him.
Oh yeah.
I'll be honest with you, didn't really know. I kind of have vague familiarity of the Pogues.
Yeah.
Uh, probably heard that song, the Christmas song.
Yep. Yeah, I'm sure.
Jingle Smells, right? That was the song they
He
did.
no, he Fairy Tale of New York was the
Yeah.
his big Christmas hit.
And
And
when I met Leah, she was very upset about his path, and we watched the recent documentary
yeah.
of him, and he was like in a wheelchair. It's really sad. And,
Oh yeah.
this was like a couple years old already. This documentary, but ever since we got to see him a couple of times live, ever since I met it, like this guy has been dying. This
Oh
guy
yeah.
outlet, like he is definitely like when I first like we saw him solo,
Yep.
I think twice, and we saw him with the Pogues. And when the Pogues got together, that's when like he got new teeth and
Yep.
he like he was
He
like
sobered up, I
cleaned
think.
up. He sobered up a bit, smoked like maybe 2 less packs a day,
Yes.
got new teeth and everything. And hey, he's probably like, yeah, dude, I did not expect to live this long. Like it's crazy when you look at like Henry Kissinger and like living to 100 and Sandra Day O'Connor,
Yeah.
like, what I think was probably in her very late 90s too.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
you see him and you're just like, well, you gotta give him credit. He definitely lived longer than he probably should have.
Yeah. He made the most of his time, for sure.
And then recently Norman Lear passed away.
Yes.
We're
Yeah.
losing like all our like old, regardless of
what you think of them. We're losing like all our like 90-year-olds before the end of the year. That's why I was like,
Yeah.
maybe I want to make sure George Mel Brooks is okay. Like he's old
Yeah.
shit. He's like 98, I think. Like we
Yeah.
just make sure Dick Van Dyke, anyone gotta keep an eye on this them. Just make sure they just make it through the year, you know. It's
Well, it is true. I mean, like, yeah, it's kind of the passing of an era.
would you say that with Norman Lear passing away around the same time as Henry Kissinger and Sandra Day O'Connor, that's three ghouls that are dead?
No, Norman Lear was great. He was so good, right?
How he gave us Archie Bunker.
That
Archie
was
Bunker out into the world. He was like, you know what? I'm gonna put this character out. The libs are gonna think that like we're making fun of this guy, but you don't understand. I know I'm a TV guy. American public is dumb as fuck. They're gonna
Norman.
look at Archie Bunker
Yeah.
and they're gonna be like, I'm Archie Bunker, and they're gonna like
This is
and
okay.
it says Archie Bunker for president.
This is just a brief list of his. This is just a crazy good run. Okay, so he had All in the Family, Sanford and Son, Maude, Good Times, The
And there's more.
Jeffersons, One Day at a Time, Fernwood Tonight.
That's a great one. That's a weird
That's
show. I watched that
amazing.
like Nick at Night. I used to always be like, "What is this? This is so
Yeah.
bizarre."
And Different Strokes.
Oh, that's him. Norman Lear. That's a Norman Lear
Yeah.
show. Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
because Different Strokes was a spin-off of shoot. What
It
was
was.
it?
It was a spinoff.
I thought it was a spin-off of something.
Well, whatchamacallit's a spinoff of Different Strokes. Garrett.
Facts of Life is a spin-off of Different Strokes.
Yeah.
Anyway, he had like an unparalleled run of really good, really progressive TV for like, I don't know, my whole childhood. Like you couldn't turn on the TV. When I was a kid, a lot of the adult shows were Norman Lear productions. And then as I grew up a little bit, like a lot of the shows I was watching were Norman Lear productions.
I didn't watch Maude until like years later. I never really knew what it was. I just remember seeing like a clip like a long time ago where I was like, wait, what? Lady from Golden Girls had stuff before that? That's crazy.
Yeah. Right, yeah.
So they just got a bunch of old ladies off the street and put them out in the show and filmed them. I thought it was a documentary. Yeah, there was a documentary like that British show, 7 Up, whatever that's called. The one that check in on these people every 7 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm watching it and there's like a clip of her telling her husband, I guess she gets an abortion or whatever.
Yeah.
No, not abortion. She was getting I think she does get an abortion actually.
I thought she did, yeah.
And then there's another one where she gets a hysterectomy. And she's telling her, and I think his name was Harry or something. She's like, or Harold. I have no idea what her husband's name was. And she's like, I want to tell you, I'm getting a hysterectomy. And my voice, I just letting you know, my voice is going to get deeper. I was like, oh, come on, that's got to be obviously. I think there was like a little like haha like audience, right. But what I liked about Maude, I noticed is that that was a spinoff of All the Family, and I guess she was, and she's like this liberal woman of the time. But the joke is that she was kind of just as racist she was racist in a different way.
Yeah.
Archie was like that kind of like working class race, kind of just dumb racist, whatever. She's like still looking down on people and like you know, like she was still like it was like a different kind. Like she thought she meant well. Like she was like I guess she'd probably be considered like a Karen today.
I think for me it would have been like there's that great Malcolm X speech, The Ballot or the Bullet, and he basically talks about liberals kind of like Maude, where it's like
fictional characters.
He was targeted in on her.
He died, I think, 10. I think he was killed like 10 years before Maude aired, just to make sure everyone's aware.
He
predicted it. He knew it was coming.
I'm not speaking literally, but he was speaking of that type of liberal that was like that. That probably is a little racist in their own way, but like well-meaning, but maybe like patriot. I know what you mean. There's like a certain kind of
They can stifle a movement too. They have the ability to stifle a movement. It's like the white moderate, the white liberal, whatever. It's like, in the end of the day, they're doing okay. So
yes,
I'm sorry, I applaud you and you're suffering, but
yeah,
I have a dinner at 7:00.
right. But he wrote, I mean, and he I think he did some other ones. I think he did Mary Hartman. I think he
Are you
did
talking about
like
Malcolm X at this point?
no,
Or
he did Mary X.
Did Malcolm X do Rhoda? Did he make Rhoda?
But like, yeah, you just can't like television would not be television without
No,
Norman
he
Lear.
totally,
I mean, it's just
he
like,
totally changed it. And I still believe though that he knew that people that yes, there would be people. It's like the Trump thing. Where
yeah,
there's going to be people who are going to look down on him, and there's going to be people who are like, oh my god, he's my idol. It's Archie Bunker.
Yeah.
So in a way, Norman Lear created
MAGA. Well, I remember Carol O'Connor, the guy who played Archie Bunker, was like a super liberal guy. Like,
he is
very liberal. And he was always kind of conflicted with playing that character. He was always surprised that people didn't realize
your bank account.
he was always kind of taken aback by people not realizing that it was like that he wasn't the hero. Because I guess it's like, remember Falling Down? We did a show about Falling Down.
Yeah, we talked about that. Falling Down is like, as a when it first came out, I was like, it's this guy, and he's like, he doesn't give a fuck anymore. I had no like real lens,
no social conscience or anything.
No, like I just didn't understand. Like, well, I did get the whole part when like when he's with the Nazi and the guy's like, me and you are the same, and he's like, no, we're not. But seeing it more in adult eyes, they aren't much different. There's just a label. There's just a couple of labels that protected the Michael Douglas character from being the Nazi, but they were not that far apart. That's why when we say that, I don't know, the Republican Party today, especially with the Trump stuff, it's a little Nazi-ish, and people are like, no, it's not. Well, it doesn't have to be exactly like the name, but the premise isn't far apart.
Right.
It's going down the same path. It's the same
outline is there.
That it was just like watching it and being like, okay, you just see it, and if you understand like get like politics, something, you watch Falling Down again, and you're like, oh yeah, no, he's like a straight up villain. Like there's not, he's this like white grievances, like all these things were promised to him, and that's why I always said it was funny when I realized that fucking that asshole, what's his name, Gavin McGinnis, the Proud Boys founder, he would always wear that outfit. He was LARPing as the guy from Douglas character Falling Down the whole entire time. Like, I was like, crazy. Yeah, well, he knew what he was doing. So yeah, we kind of went on a tangent.
Yeah,
I was trying to get Rain Joseph back the entire time. He's like,
well,
start talking about Maud.
Going on.
What?
Don't get me going on Maud.
Yeah. What are we talking about this week, Joseph?
Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about the Disney guy, Igor.
Bob Igor, right?
Yes, like the Marty Feldman character. Come Igor. And then we're talking about streaming services in general. We're going to talk about two shows we watch, For All Mankind and Monarch, which is a show about Godzilla.
Yep.
And then we're talking about George Santos getting kicked out of Congress, which was hilarious. And then we're going to talk about Kevin McCarthy resigning, which was
also kind of funny.
Just as funny, but in a different way. We're talking about the latest GOP debate. We're talking about the Gavin, Newsom, Ron DeSantis debate. We're talking about Mike Johnson and his little J6 protection racket. We're talking about the Moms for Liberty founder, who has recently found herself in some scandalous headlines. And then we're going to talk about a tweet you posted that's gotten, well, how many millions
17 million views.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Retweeted thousands, requoted thousands,
yes.
liked almost 6,000 times, but it's been viewed 17 million times, which is
insane. That
is
crazy.
I know that the no Kanye or Kardashian, they put out something, but I'm not. Just some guy retweeting someone else's photo.
And then we're talking about the Elon truck. And then self-checkout. And that's it. That's the whole show.
We're gonna self-checkout.
Self-checkout at the end.
About self-checkout.
Yes.
All right, Joseph. So the first thing, Bob Eiger, who is the CEO of Disney, he came back and he said, "What is up with all this woke shit? I'm gonna come in. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make it successful again." Because everybody knows the most creative people are the executives. It's never the actual creatives.
Right? Yeah.
Let me see if I can find what he said. It is so fucking stupid.
It was something about message. He said he doesn't want to be in the message business or something. He wants to be in the entertainment business.
How does that mean? That's insane. Every movie has a message. Look, okay, if someone said Marvel's was woke, I'd be like, okay, how was it woke? Please explain.
Yeah.
And then if someone's like, no, what? Because there's a woman, a Muslim, there's like a Pakistani girl and a black woman. Like, does that make it woke? No. Okay, what is it? I mean, like, and then like, what's the messaging by the Marvels? Teamwork makes the dream work. I mean, that's literally what the movie's about. It's like these three characters get forced into having to deal with each other, and two of them have a strained relationship. The others don't know this girl, and because of this mega band they wear, and someone messed with it, their power, because they're all like light-based powers, whatever, they keep swapping. That's like plot. So they're forced to reconcile whatever and work together. And there's literally a scene where a montage scene of them, and it's the best scene in the movie. It's kind of the equivalent of like a chick flick when like they start doing the dishes and singing in a movie, and like chick flicks, they do that and they have like kind of close to that, but like a lot.
Sure.
No wine, but like that's that. Is that the mess? Like, wait, Bob Iger, is that woke messaging working together?
I mean,
if they work together, they might form a union and strike, and I don't want them to do that.
The truth of the matter is, like, there are movies out there without like a real message. Like, you could argue that Step Brothers or Wedding Crashers, I mean, they have like kind of a generic message, like friends are nice, but like there are movies out there that don't really have a message. But aside from like, Step Brothers and Wedding Crashers, which are probably like quasi classics of that genre, like any good meaningful film is built around a message. It just is, I mean,
one of the best Marvel movies would probably, which is funny, the idiots who like claim these movies are woke. The Winter Soldier is literally about a Nazi sleeper cell in S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
And they're literally putting through a final solution by using an algorithm that goes after specific people and using the helicarriers to kill people. That is literally the plot of the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Nazis are embedded for decades in S.H.I.E.L.D. and Captain America has to do something about it. It's literally about like freedom of speech. It's literally about a fascistic takeover. Like, I don't get it. Like, that to me, like, is woke as fuck. I don't know. Like, what is Like, what the fuck does he mean? Like, I get it. You know what it means? You know what it means? It means nothing. If you just say he can have all the shit in the movies that he has now, and just just don't advertise it. I mean, like, what? I don't get it. It's such a like, don't fall for this bullshit. Like, what was woke about Phase 4 of Marvel? Like,
Yeah,
what was woke about
it
it?
doesn't make any sense.
Moon Knight, like, what was woke? Dissociate. What is it? What kind of personality? What is it?
Dissociative identity disorder.
Yeah, is that woke? I mean, like,
well,
what the fuck? I don't even understand. Like, what? Oh, Shang-Chi. How is it woke? No, tell me. What? Not you. I mean, like, what? How is it woke? Asian hero.
Part of it too is like ostensibly, like, they are selling to a global audience. I mean, like, you would imagine that the world's just changed. Like, I mean, I don't know.
These movies do very well. Here's the reality. Like, and again with the Marvels, it suffered because of the strike. They couldn't promote the movie. Would it have been their top if they were able to promote it better? Would it have been their top movie? No, I don't think so. I think it would have been like a middling movie. I think the big problem with the Marvels is that one of the coolest scenes should have been a bigger part of the movie, and it wasn't. It was just kind of like a quick montage of like the plot, and the villain was kind of like, it could have been anyone. Like, no, put in a good villain. Marvel has thousands of villains. Put in a notable villain. Put fucking Terrax in. Someone who, like, there's so many villains, and they put in this, like, if they gender swap a no-name villain. So not just did you like, so it could have been anyone. Like, she was fine, the actress was fine, but it was like a nothing villain. And if you want to have a good Marvel movie or a good superhero movie, you gotta have a good villain. That's just the best Marvel.
It's essential,
have the best villains. I mean, like, again, the thing that for most people that saves Quantumania is Kang.
Yeah.
And again, it wasn't a notable that by not having the kind of like meaningless. So let's ignore the woke bullshit and all that other stuff. The reality is, it did not seem like a consequential film.
I would agree with that.
If you watch the previews, it was just like the three girls and they were playing like Beastie Boys and it looked like fun. But you had a generic villain. Like, there's so many good villains. Like, I don't understand why they just, there's so many, the whole roster they could have used. And if someone's like, well, that's not a Captain Marvel villain, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
There's a fucking Kingpin in there. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
That would have been kind of stupid. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's so many freaking characters. And they just put in this generic villain. And that's why I think that's the real reason. Any of these jackasses say it's woke. And it's dumb that Bob Iger is like, the joke is that they South Park, I guess, put some episode out called like the Panderverse, which is like, again, that's why I always say South Park's kind of a right-wing show because they repeat the same bullshit South Park do. The right has been saying that for years. Like, oh, Disney, they're just pandering to what? Like, what does that mean? Like, by having like a couple of people in the cast that are a little more diverse, how is that pandering? Like,
I mean,
they're a business. If, like, in their mind, they're like, you know what? Maybe this person will go see this movie now. And by that person, they mean millions of that kind of person will go see that movie now because there's a character in the movie for a couple of minutes that when that'll be on screen, will have a couple of moments. They could be like, hey, or like, but now with Bob Iger saying, like, okay, what are you gonna do? You're gonna do a bunch of white men movies now? Isn't that pandering too?
Yeah, it's just so limiting.
Like pandering to at the worst at this point.
There's just such a weird nuance to all this. I think, like, the people that are angry about this are such a small group of people. The people that are really worked up over the fact that there's a Pakistani woman or there's like a gay character, like a side character in a film. The people that have worked up about this are so small in number.
And they're
the
making
number of
money
people
off
that,
of it.
yeah,
They're grifting off of it usually.
and the people that are really excited about it, they're probably a small number too. The vast majority probably just don't give a fuck, or probably don't even think
they don't
about
care.
it.
They just, like I said, if people saw the preview and saw a sick villain, a villain that they kind of recognized,
Yes,
they would probably, the movie would have did better. Just would have done better. There was just
like
a villain, not Thanos, doesn't be a Thanos level villain. I can't even think of the villain. You know why? Because I don't write this shit. I'm not kidding to write this shit. But if they put in like a notable villain, the fucking Sandman from Spider-Man. I mean, something that like I recognize that person, or you get a bigger actor or actress for the villain. You get a bigger name. Like again, this woman that was the villain, like it was like whatever. I mean, she was fine. She was like someone from the Kree who got upset because like the plot is you find out in the past Captain Marvel went back and destroyed the Supreme Intelligence. That could have been a movie in itself.
Yeah.
That could have been a movie. And by destroying the Supreme Intelligence, she destroys the planet. She didn't realize because like the Supreme Intelligence, like the AI literally ran the entire Kree planet. And that's like the plot. So like this woman she's like becomes like the next Ronin or something.
Yeah.
But like again, it was like, who is that? You could have had anybody. You could have had like the Super Scroll in it. I don't know. Like you could have just had something a little more notable, and then I think more people would have felt like, oh yeah, I need to see this because this villain, like again, and I guess the other problem, again, the problem with Marvels is you had to watch 2 Disney Plus shows to know who the 2 main other characters were outside of Captain Marvel. You had to watch Miss Marvel, and then you had to been like, well, what show do I have to watch to know who this one is? WandaVision. And you're like, what? So it makes it even more difficult.
It has that whole strategy of like multimedia, multi-property, dependence, I think was real smart in the beginning. And I think it's gotten to be kind of a deficit now. You know what I mean? Like,
because again, you watch it, let's say you have to do the homework and you're like, well, I watched Miss Marvel and I watched WandaVision, but I also watched Secret Invasion because, Samuel Jackson's in this movie too. Yeah. You don't even like acknowledge the existence of that show. Like there's like, I think there might be like one very, very slight reference to that show. Like I don't know. The point is, I'm not going to spend the whole time talking about this. But one of the funnier quotes that Bob Eiger said is that he thinks that we need to have more executives on the set. Like, all this like out of control. Like they're the ones that are going to rein in and make sure the stories connect. Get the fuck out of here. No, they're not. Oh yeah, because that's one thing creatives love. They love when the higher ups are just looking, just walking around and like looking at everything that's going on.
Yeah,
like,
I know it's a different. I know it's a different company, but it almost seems like his notion of how a studio runs was based off the Animaniacs. That he thinks that like if an executive's not there, that Yakko, Wacko, and Dot will just be like fucking shit up everywhere, and they need like adult supervision. And
I think the reality too is that they're going 2019. We literally had like, I don't know if it was 8 or 10 movies that made over $1 billion.
Yeah.
None of their movies made $1 billion. The one that came the closest was the one that the guy they initially fired.
Yeah.
Because they fell for not online Nazis bullshit.
Yeah. Guardians. Yeah.
And then he left to go become literally the Kevin Feige of DC. And regardless if it's successful or not, it doesn't matter because you lost him. Like he can go bomb there. It doesn't matter. You lost him. You lost whatever potential could have been made in the Marvel universe with keeping him around and having him control like all the cosmic stuff or all the space oriented stuff. Like he could have been in charge of that whole universe and then work together, when they go back to Earth or something. And their best, most successful movie is the one he made to finish the job, basically. And they did, and initially fired him from that job. So that's actually kind of funny. That's karma in a way. Because,
for sure.
So they went from 2019 being like insanely huge to 2023, like none of their movies are really doing well. Like that new one that came out, Wish or something. I don't know what it's called. Supposedly bombed.
Came and went.
Again, I don't think people realize though, there's a lot of weird stuff going on. People don't have money to spend. There's a lot of weird uncertainty. It's like an odd economy. You hear like, people are doing well, but they're not. Like they're not doing well. It's strange. It's like a weird. Everything's like, and if they are doing okay, it doesn't matter because they're spending like $100 more at the grocery store than they did before the pandemic. So that $100 would have been play money that they could have taken their kid or kids or just went on dates or whatever. Just had extra money to be like, yeah, I got money to go see the Marvels. I'll go see it. It looks like it'll be fun. And now they're going, who the fuck are they fighting? Quantum Mania wasn't that good. This movie, I'm staying home.
It's just one of the easiest things to give up. It's like if you're looking for things to trim out of your expenses, going to the movies is an easy one.
Like I've already seen like 40 Marvel movies.
Yeah,
I could live without seeing one in the theater. Like that's the truth. I like them. I try to see them all in the theater. I'm just talking about like your average person. Your average person's not going to consume 20 Marvel products a year. They're just not going to.
No.
I will because I'm crazy. No, because because I'm an actual fan of it. I'm a fan of the comics, and I kind of buy less of them, or at least new stuff. I don't really read too many new stuff, and I forgot how to read. It's kind of turned into watching the shows and the movies, but your average person's not going to do that. It's just like the same thing when I was a kid. Like I bought like tons of comics from Marvel and DC, and then there would be people who got into comics, but they would buy like maybe like they were into Punisher, and that was it.
Right,
checked out like Spider-Man once, and they're like, ugh. Or they got into like Ghost Rider for a bit, but they weren't gonna buy every fucking title.
They didn't search it out. They didn't research it.
Right. So imagine that. Now try to get those people now. And this was when comics were like $1.50, $1, $2 back then. Now picture that now, but with movies and streaming and all that, and being like, and time. The thing is, like a comic, they still took like 10 minutes at most to read if it was a bigger issue or whatever, depending on who wrote it. Like if it was Chris Claremont, it took like an hour. Alan Moore or something. But now imagine it's like, no, you gotta go watch like a 6-episode series or 8-episode series to really know what's going on. And then you watch the Marvels and you're like, well, there really wasn't a payoff. They said there was going to be a payoff for all these, and there really wasn't. There wasn't. So like, whatever he's saying, his solution is not an answer. It's just stupid.
The real answer is to let creative people like take more risks, encourage more,
maybe put out 2 less, instead of 4 movies, make sure to do 2, maybe 3 movies at most a year.
And do them right.
Disney Plus shows. Why don't you hire some people to teach you how to do pacing? And do more one and done episodes. Complete.
Like Werewolf by Night. That's a
how about villain? No, I mean, like the one thing that worked with She-Hulk was it felt more like a TV show in that there were episodes that were their own thing. There was that was real fun. There were stories that went on, but it didn't just feel like, they just took like a 3-hour movie and cut it into like 6 episodes.
Right.
It felt like a show. I don't care what any of these jackasses say about that show, whatever. I don't know what the hell they expected from it, but that one worked the most as a TV show, and they need to do
I
that.
agree.
So I don't know. He again, and it's also easy to Monday quarterback this shit.
Oh yeah.
And and again, you gotta imagine like you're this CEO of this company. I think he came back, right? Wasn't there somebody else and they ousted him and brought Eiger back?
Yes, they
So
did. Yeah.
he's gonna try to like say some dumb shit and not try to take any blame. Like, oh, we've done too much messaging. What the fuck does that mean? What messaging? Like, let's take another movie. Like another Disney movie, a classic one maybe. Like that has like would probably be considered woke messaging today. I don't even know.
Like all you have to do is look at Pocahontas was kind of like woke in its day. That was a while ago. A lot of them, I don't know. It's
No, like they wouldn't even be considered woke. They just like I'm just talking about like messaging in general. It's so stupid. Like, so what do you want to have? A flat movie that has no meaning? Like,
yeah.
how is that type of writing?
It all that stuff comes from like conflict and tension, and that's all a story is you introduce conflict and then resolve it.
So what messaging is there? Like, are you watching the Marvels and like, oh yeah, it was crazy during the Marvels when Brie looked at the screen and said there's 87 genders. That was weird. I was like, I'm not gonna argue with that. I just think that's a little odd in this movie. It's out of context to the film. No, there wasn't anything like that. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the other issue I don't think people realize is that people are like, where's the X-Men? Where's this? Well, the problem is that, and I'm surprised it never really got out. The reason why we haven't had any X-Men movies too is because there was all these contracts that ended up in 2025, and they didn't want to have to honor those contracts. So that's the reason why we're getting a Hugh Jackman Wolverine in Deadpool, is because he is still under like contract, and I'm sure they have to pay him a grip to be in it. But that's why and it's coming out in 2024. Like, and I think that's the reason why people are like, like, why are we just getting these like weird, like B/C level offshoot when we know you have the X-Men, we know you have it. Yeah, you have it. What are you doing with it? Like, it's funny, even in She-Hulk, she kind of in the next episode she makes a joke like, what's up with the X-Men, man? Like,
don't bogart those X-Men.
Well, it's always funny that she did that too, because on the cover of her new, like in the 80s, she had a series called Sensational She-Hulk.
Yeah.
Cover, she says like, if you don't buy this, I'm going to rip up all your X-Men comics. Because I was the #1 book at the time. And then the last issue of the series, which was like 60 when it got canceled, she's like, that's it, I'm coming to get that. I forgot what she says, but she was like, it's the same cover almost. And
that's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think people just don't have money for bullshit. And if you want people to spend money, I don't know, don't put out like 20 fucking movies every like month. Like, not everybody it's not even just like money, it's time too. Like, and again, you also trained your audience to know that, in 45 days or 60 days, this movie is gonna be on the streaming service.
Well, that's the big thing. And that we were going to talk about streaming services too, briefly.
Yeah.
For me, that's a big deal. Like, if I know if it's a movie I just kind of want to see, I'll wait.
Yeah.
It's got to be a unique movie. I think I'm going to try to see that Godzilla -1 this weekend.
I want to see that. That looks good.
That looks like something that would benefit from a big screen. I want to see that new. I can never pronounce his name right, but the guy who did Spirited Away, he has a new cartoon out. The Boy and the Heron. That looks fun. That looks like it might benefit from a large screen. But if it's not going to benefit from a large screen, and it's not like a super high-end movie, I'm going to stream it.
But even then, it's like, that's your own personal thing. Like, are you going to take, like, the family of 6 is going to go see a movie? Because no, they're going to be like, I'm not spending $200 at the theater. We pay for the streaming. Yeah, we pay for the streaming service. You're gonna watch this at home.
I can get 8 years of Peacock for that much money.
8 years of cock. It's funny. The Godzilla -1. It like, I keep hearing like, because it did well here. I mean, it made like 11 million or something, like, which is a lot for like a I don't know, very low distribution or whatever. It'll probably go up. But they're like, movie only costs 15 million. It looks amazing. I'm like, okay, this is, well, I always said, I'm like, all right, Marvel's cost like 250, 300 million. I'm like, it didn't look bad, but where did all that money really go?
Yeah, it's no monsters. I mean, let's be honest here.
Yeah, so. But I mean, like, where did all that money go? And then I'm like, I don't know what the rules and what kind of unions or laws they have in Japan, but I'm sure they don't have to pay people as good. If the movie's only 15 million, it looks that good, then they're not paying people. Like, movies like created by some religious cult, and
every extra is a convict. Like,
yeah, like, I'm sure there's like, I don't want to assume anything, but I would imagine there's something definitely different about how things cost there versus here. Something is being sacrificed.
Yes, I would agree.
I would like to know, okay, how are they making that 15 million? Like, do they pay their actors minimum wage? Like, because it looks amazing. Like, like, it doesn't look great at all. Godzilla looks great. Like, yeah, I want to see it. And real quick before we move on to the next thing, the funniest thing about the Bob Iger thing, talking about messaging, is that, like, okay, dunce, what are the two biggest grossing movies of the year? What were the two biggest grossing movies?
Oppenheimer and Barbie, right?
Yeah. Both of them were like slammed with tons of messaging.
Yeah, Barbie in particular,
like, I haven't seen either of these movies, but I heard about them, and I know that, like, Oppenheimer's about the cost of war and the idea of a bomb and all that, and like shit, we've done this, and then like Barbie's about like gender roles and all this other stuff. I mean, that's the funniest thing. All these jackasses saying like, go woke, go woke. Go, go. It's like the wokest fucking movie supposedly, and it made the most money of the year. So
Barbie for sure, yeah.
And again, it was like an event movie. I remember taking my son to a movie, and there were these like teenagers that showed up during the day to see Barbie, and the guys and the girls were all wearing like pink dresses, suits. I was like, that's actually kind of funny. I mean, that's an event. That's like, it turns into like something now that is like, you can't put 20 Barbies out a year.
No, and some of that is a little luck. I mean, like, a lot of it's they just made a good movie that resonates with people, but some of it too is that captures the moment, in some unique way.
Barbenheimer meme and everything.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
the funny thing about the whole thing was right after Barbie came out and it started doing really well, the Mattel or whatever put out this list of like 12 movies they want to make, and it's so funny because it's like, listen, you had one hit,
right?
Monkeys in a Barrel are not gonna be like, I'm sorry, Hot Wheels, like, no, calm down, chill a little. You may get like one or two more hits, but if you start shitting out like real dumb stuff, like Barbie is like a cultural icon toy that's been around since like what, the 50s?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They still have like aisles at the toy store dedicated to it, like, to this day.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
So it resonates with people, but I don't even have the list in front of me. Some of it was like ridiculous, and I'm like, this is so typical. The darky. Just always go back to that Dark Universe photo with
Tom Cruise and
all the other actors I got.
God,
so good. All right, streaming services.
Yeah,
not really much to say. I saw like a little article or whatever, and it said like the head of Peacock or whatever. It said like they had like a plan to get like to make $3 billion this year or something like that in streaming revenue. And I guess they only made, they're shy of 2.8 billion.
Right.
That's a lot. Yeah.
That's more than just a little shy. Yeah, I don't know, man. I always think back on what was that, Quibbits or Quibi? Do you remember that streaming service?
Yeah. Quibi, it was like It was it was made fun of right from the start.
Yes.
The only thing they had was like the revival of Reno 911, but like it was like a weird. It was made to watch on your phone, and it was not really made for horizontal view. It was made for vertical, and
Yeah.
it just looked like
someone
crap right from the start.
It did, but someone pointed out that it's basically TikTok. Like, if you think about it, it was TikTok before TikTok came out.
TikTok was around already when Quibi was out.
Yeah, but the way we've consumed TikTok
yeah. I think TikTok back then was literally just like
dance videos or whatever. Yeah,
lip singing.
But Quibi, I always think of like Quibi, like, of course that was not going to go anywhere. You know, I mean, like streaming makes a ton of sense in every single way except making money. You know.
Well, the funny thing I heard, I would listen to like different people, creatives, people who like made movies, and they said that like if you got a Quibi deal, it was like free cash. Like maybe it didn't do anything for your career, but because they were throwing so much cash around, I was like, yeah, I'll make you a dumbass show that won't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll work on that. No one's gonna see it, and no one will remember it, and I'll end up taking like $1 million or something.
Yeah, they're gonna give like 1.5 million to Brookers, you know, to make a YouTube show. I don't know. It's look, I love streaming services. I have a ton of them. I just don't see it as like, I don't understand how they're making money. I think it seems like a house of cards. You know,
I think that's the problem with it, is that, you know, it took a very long time for Netflix to get to where it was. And the joke was, even Netflix, I don't even know how profitable they are. I mean, they clearly are profitable. They exist and they keep making things and everything like that. Yeah. But like, it took a very long time, and it started out as a DVD rental thing.
Yes.
And the streaming service, it took like a decade to get to like Stranger Things season 1.
Yeah.
Or like Orange is the New Black. It took like a decade of streaming to get to that point. Like I remember I was like, oh, they have a streaming service, and like I was able to like
that was a joke. The
PlayStation 3. Yeah, it was slow as shit.
Yeah.
I was like getting annoyed trying, like I couldn't watch their thing. It was like, oh cool, they actually have it available. And then the joke was they had nothing good. It was all like what would be like dollar bin DVDs at a gas station and shit. Like, I mean,
it was like the early days of HBO where they had like 30 movies you could choose.
Yeah, but at least those were like actual movies. These were
a lot of them were, but I mean, I remember
Netflix. I'm talking about like it was ass. Like it was like you wish it was Asylum. Like you wish it was like something notable like Asylum. It took a long time, and then it started to do really well. And then all of a sudden, all these studios like, well, we need to have our own streaming service. We need to have our own. And it was like, okay. And then they get their own, and some of these places have them for like a couple of years now, and they're just not getting the return on investment they want. And the joke is, a lot of these streaming services now, these so-called exclusive ones, a lot of their content is now going back to Netflix. They're licensing to Netflix. Like I said, I was telling you before that, like, all the DCU movies, James Gunn's Suicide Squad, Shazam, all these movies are on Netflix again. Or no, they never were. Now they're on Netflix. And it was like, wait, what? I thought I had to have Max to get these. You know what I mean? Like all this content that I thought was on there, and now I can just watch it on Netflix. The fuck do I need Max? Like I said, I get it with my phone, so I don't care about it.
But the point is there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then the same thing, like with Peacock, I get it with my my internet provider. So I guarantee you I would not pay. I maybe would get it for a month here or there. I'd be like, yeah, I'll pick it up for a month. There's like 5 shows I watch. Like right now, Apple, I've had it for a while, but they jacked up the price to $10 a month, which isn't terrible. But like, only thing I care about on there right now is For All Mankind,
Monarch,
and Monarch. We're gonna talk about that in a minute or two. But after they're over, I'm probably gonna drop it for a while and then get it back when there's a couple other shows. You know, like
I would say, Apple has been. If I had,
it's super easy. I just go to my subscriptions and turn it off, and then when I went back, I just
Apple makes it real easy to turn on and off. I love that Apple channel though. It's surprisingly deep, and they have a lot of like great shows. I watched that show Invasion on there, which was amazing. They have Severance was on there, and they have a couple really good.
Now, who knows
good
when
things.
Severance is ever going to come back, though?
Schmigadoon.
It just sounds like you're making something up. Shows like Schmibbity Bibbity and Schmigadoon and Flibbity Flabbity.
Flibbity Floppity. No,
my favorite show is Murgity Durgity.
But Apple has some great stuff.
Well, the point I'm saying though is there's all the, and it's like people were saying, like, I feel like I cut cable for a reason because I was paying like $200 a month.
Right.
Now I feel like I'm paying, and that was like, yeah, that's exactly what was going to happen. But I always say to people, like, you don't have to keep these fucking like that was the cable though. They would make you locked in to get the full package, and then if you like fucked with it, I remember calling them up and they would just make things so difficult. I was like, fuck it, I'll just deal with it. It was funny. When I did cut it, all of a sudden they called me and started offering me like amazing deals.
Oh yeah. I'll say this, I am probably back up to paying what I used to pay in cable, but I have so much more content now and so much better content and so many more options. Like I'm not saving the money I used to save, but I've significantly upgraded my options. I used to get like the Catholic channel on my cable package. I was like paying for the Catholic channel.
The joke was, I think I watched like I watched like 8 channels.
Yeah.
I didn't give a shit about sports or anything like that too. So it was like, they'd be like, oh, we have sports. I'm like, I don't care. Like, like that doesn't mean anything to me. Like, I don't want to pay for that. But yeah, that's the problem. I think in a lot of these places they're starting to realize, oh shit. So I don't know. I feel like they locked themselves in something and they're not going to be profitable. Or they would make these, like, the other thing too they would do is they would make all the streaming services like, we have to make these like big budget shows. Yeah. So that's the other problem with like Disney Plus is like, I don't know what their ratings. Supposedly like Ahsoka did like okay. Supposedly like by the time it got to the finale, it didn't do well.
That's surprising.
These are expensive ass shows to make. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
As like the movie does. I don't know. You trained your audience to expect like movie quality effects at home. That's why it's funny when they're like, the CGI isn't as good as in the movie. I'm like, yeah, because you trained your audience to expect the same quality that they would see in the theater. So that's what I say is make the movies look like shit. There you go. Train your audience to expect nothing.
Speaking of the way things look, I will say the 2 shows we're going to talk about tonight, For All Mankind and Monarch, I think they both look great.
But real quick, what do you think is going to happen do you think we're going to lose some streaming channels that are just going to like die?
Yeah, I think so.
Or absorb into each other?
That's the more likely thing, is I think that you would see like, it's hard to say because like NBC Universal owns Peacock, so they can't, they're not going to be able to merge with CBS on All Access or whatever.
That's been floating around now is that supposedly Universal might buy WB, which sounds insane.
Well, yeah, I don't know. It just seems that there's got to be the current approach is not tenable. It's not sustainable. So something's got to happen. I don't know what will happen, but something's got to happen.
Like I said, it's not even just money, which obviously is important. It's also time, and not everyone has they're going to look at it and go, well, I have like these 7 streaming services, but I really only watch like 3 of these.
Yeah.
Cut the other 4, like, because I don't have the time to watch them, or not, I don't even have the interest.
I mean, it may get to the point where microtransactions become real easy. You know what I mean? And you may get to the point where you can like buy a day of Peacock. You know what I mean? Like, or buy a weekend of HBO. I mean, it may get to that point. I know there's like a kind of model like that. I have Amazon Prime, and when I forget what show it came out, I think it was Game of Thrones, and I used to buy HBO and turn it on and off via Amazon Prime all the time. I basically had HBO as like a channel on Amazon Prime. Something like that makes sense where like you probably could manage it that way. Essentially it'd be an easier way of what you're talking about doing anyway.
Well, like
which is
I don't know if that's they would like to do that. I think it's like the month schedule is the only one that's really doable. I think like the day it's like the amount of work involved. It may sound easy, like, oh, I'm just turning on a thing, but I would imagine on their end, it's like,
well, yeah. Also, I think another thing is that you're going to just start to see, sadly, like just more and more advertising.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like that's how they make it work, and that sucks. But maybe like you find a service you really like and you pay for the ad-free version of it, but for all the others,
You ever watch anything on Pluto or Tubi?
Once we
Pluto,
did.
there was like 12 ads. It was like insane the amount of ads. I was like, I'm never watching a movie on here. It was like
when
insane.
We did Miracle Mile, or that movie. You told me it's on some thing
that
like
was
that.
Years ago. Yeah.
And I had to watch it on, I think it was Pluto or something. Anyway, you're right. It was a lot of ads.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I guess it's like when you would watch TV, you would watch a movie on TV, like when it was on regular TV. It'd be awful.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that they would edit the shit out of it.
Yeah. No, I remember. I mean, like it used to be down to a science. They'd have like 30-second ad spots and 60-second ad spots. And like I would know at what time the ads were going to be longer or shorter, when I had time to run to the bathroom, when I had time to go like microwave some pizza or anyway. That's what I think.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll talk about For All Mankind or Monarch?
For All Mankind, I think.
Okay. So, it's funny. I feel like I watched it like over a week ago because it was like,
it was Friday night.
We're doing the episode a day later because we wanted to talk about the GOP debate.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm trying to like jog my memory. You kept on calling him Daniel. His name's not Daniel.
No, I said it's Dale. D-A-L-E.
Dale. Is it Dale?
I'm almost positive it's Dale. You're talking about the every
guy, the Joe, the guy who's trying to make money. In this week's episode, he tries to do it again. He discovers he sends a rock home or something, and the mom and his wife or ex-wife, whatever, is like telling him over the thing, like this jewelry person offered her like $5,000, which you're an idiot for only taking $5,000. You should ask for like fucking $5,000.
Well, she does not look like she spends a lot of time doing crossword puzzles or anything.
She understands the value of precious rare gems. So he's like talking to the guy named Ivan. I know that sounds like ridiculous if his name is Ivan, but
Elion.
We'll just call him Ivan because that's a nice generic Russian name. He was like, no, I'm not. Oh, he wanted to ship stuff back to from Mars to Earth with those
import-export.
And he's like, no, I'm not doing that. He's like, I would have to have more people. More people means bigger problem.
He's got a good point.
100% right. And I'm like, oh my God, I see this coming. This fucking guy is gonna fuck the whole thing up. So then he decides to be greedy. He figures out how to way to get to go to Mars, he's never been on actual Mars, and
never been on the surface.
Never been on the surface, which I find hard to believe that he would be able to do as good as he even did.
Yeah, I'm sure he went through some sort of training, like simulated weightlessness. Maybe they had him on the moon for a little while.
His name is Ilya, that guy.
Ilya, yeah. And what is it? It's Dale, right?
His name is Miles.
Gomer. It's not Miles, is it?
It's Miles. I'm looking at it right now. The actor's name is Dale Keppel, and his name is Miles Dale.
Oh, okay. I know it's Dale.
Right. Yeah, his name is Miles Dale.
Okay, so his
name is Gomer Pyle.
He's the B story here. The A story is that Ed's Russian love interest nearly kills a guy after they get in an argument.
Well, the guy accuses her of being like, this guy is clearly part of or sympathizes with the new regime.
Yeah.
Russia basically had a coup
Yeah.
and ousting the Gorbachev. And I guess she was considered part of like a Gorbachev sympathizer or something.
Yes.
They got into a fight and he's calling her like a traitor or whatever. And
and then he says like, you'll open your legs to America or something like that.
Yeah.
And she hits him and his suit punctures and he has like a stroke or something.
It's like Total Recall. He gets the bends basically.
Yeah.
She tries to seal it. But, it's like Total Recall with the eyes bug out and everything.
Yeah. And so Ed is like, well, we're going to protect her. And it's kind of a weird dynamic because at first you see it as like Russian versus American, but then like within the people on the space station, it's more like, well, there's the elites and the workers. And all the workers, both American and Russian, are pissed off that the fancy, lead astronaut is being protected after having nearly killed like a lowly tech.
Yeah, well, he's technically considered like one of them and not regardless of what his beliefs are or not.
Right, and it's kind of weird because like you see, like a lot of the workers down there are pretty militant, like workers' right militant, like the American girl that we thought Miles Dale was going to start sleeping with.
They got pretty close this week. They did get pretty close. She saves him. He's running out of oxygen. She gets there.
But at the end, she gets real pissed at him because he's like, I think we can make money. Can you help me with this? And she's like, our friend is like almost dead and you're thinking about making money? And he's like, yeah, I am. Like,
and he's and she's the one that connected him with Ilya and everything.
Yeah.
I know it's such like this shit writes itself. Like I remember seeing it's like, oh, you can't fuck with my system, and he of course is like, we need to branch off. I'm like, oh god, this is so
come on, man, just take your money and
just make your money. Shut the fuck up, dude. You're like, don't get so greedy. Like
you've been there for like 30 days. Just calm down.
Dude, you're gonna make a lot of money by the time you're done. Like stop fucking with good shit. I know it's so funny. But he gets the rocks and of course he tries to get that, and of course he is greedy. He tries to reach for that one rock. And
it's like an Aesop's fable.
What?
It's like an Aesop's fable.
It was totally like that. Like he ended up on the back of he was on a scorpion that was on his back.
Yeah. So they're trying to reach for the grape, like
it was like, so then, but he, she saved him. He didn't die, but he was going to. His oxygen was going to go. I don't know. I mean, that storyline, we'll see. Hopefully it's not so fucking predictable.
Well,
hopefully it has a swerve or two in that one.
My theory is that dipshit there is going to turn out to be like an accidental labor leader. Or,
I thought what was going to happen was when he fell in that hole, something was going to happen and he was going to fucking gump his way into finding like oxygen,
water or something. Yeah,
I really thought that's what was going to happen. Like he would fall in this hole and something would have cracked and steam would have came out and he would have been like, and they would have been like, holy shit. And like, I really thought that's what was going to happen.
Well, it could still happen. Those rocks he brought back could be of greater significance than people now realize,
they're alien babies, actually.
It is. I'll tell you though, and I was thinking this when I was watching the show. It's just so good. I mean, look, I know the show is, it can be soapy at times, it can be predictable at times, but man, it's such a great show. I just really look forward to watching it. I'm never bored watching it. There's always like a lot to look at. The production is great. The acting is great. It introduces like kind of logical but twisty things. It's just such a great show, I think.
Yeah. I don't know.
And
I don't know. And I guess the other big thing that's really going on is just the tension between Russia and United States, and especially with like how what's his face, the main guy, what's his name, Ed trying to protect her, and it's like
yeah,
obvious, and um he's like, come on, and Daniel's like got bigger. She's like, I'm not gonna like risk
yeah.
relations because of her, like because she might.
Well, and even Danny is at some point she's like, look, she did almost kill that guy. Like
Yeah,
I mean, she
like
may have been justified, but like this is a big deal. Like this is not like
yeah, we can't just
nothing.
like throw this under because you like her, like.
Yeah.
And at home, what's his face? One of the what was it? What were they called? The bandits in Home Alone. What were those guys called?
Oh yeah, the Wet Bandits was it? Or
Yeah, yeah, something like that. He got a big job with NASA. That guy. It's the
he's
same.
like Lee Iacocca, right? Like
Yeah, he's
is he
playing
supposed
this.
to
No,
be?
he's playing the character from Home Alone. He's playing the same character in this universe. That
Yeah,
Home Alone is actually a documentary.
he's
Yeah,
kind of
he's
an
playing
interesting
he's
character.
playing like some kind of Lee Iacocca guy who ends up like going from the private sector uh to working for government.
Yeah,
The
but
opposite.
it seems like, especially this week, it seems like he is a true believer. Like he really is trying to do a good job.
And
He really,
they're like hinting he's gonna get a fucking heart attack from this.
yeah. Oh
And
yeah, he's gonna. I'd
wife
imagine.
walks in and like, you gotta take your medicine. He's like,
Right.
it's like, and then like, we have to go travel. And he's like, I just need another year. That guy's
Yeah.
so dead.
Yeah.
He's so dead. He's the I'm retiring tomorrow
Yep.
from the
Yep.
police force.
One last day. Not gonna
One
write
last
any.
day. Gonna do one last day.
um, but he's a good character and he's an interesting one.
Yeah, he's all right. Then he comes up with a solution involving India, I guess, as being like
Yep.
kind of like a neutral. But then then you see what's going on in Russia with Margot, and like no one she talks to that one woman, but they're
Yeah.
almost like they're told not to talk to her or something. I don't know. And that lady is, I mean, obviously she's probably more of a villain, her
Oh yeah.
boss.
Yeah. Her
Uh
bosses.
uh what's her name? Irina Morozova, is that her name? I don't know.
I have no idea.
No, that's not her.
But
Um,
it's that storyline is like, oh, it's a little nerve wracking for me. Like, I I I don't. I'm kind of stuck on that character of Margot, and I love that character. It's like that was one of the first characters we ever met.
she's
She's
literally, I
been,
think, the first character you made. She's the
yeah,
one. She's getting ready for the day, and that.
yes,
Yeah,
and
and the season began the same way. It was like the juxtaposition of her, like being
yeah,
in Russia.
and it's I feel so bad for her, even though she like really fucked up and everything. But like, I don't know if they're gonna like just torture her all year and make her life more and more miserable, which I don't want to see. But I also don't want to see like a redemption arc either, because I don't know that that's going to be like earned. I
I
don't
think
know.
she'll somehow come up, and either she gets killed or she ends up back in America somehow.
Yeah, I hope so. My fear is that they're going to kill her off, and that she will do something heroic to redeem herself, but in the process be killed. I mean, that seems to
Yeah,
be the most
that is
logical.
possible. And then again, that like you find out like because some guy who she ends up kind of taking his place too. This like
Yeah, the engineer, right?
and he thinks like she's like, oh yeah, he's just gonna get a new job, and then she finds out
No,
he's like getting sent to like Siberia or something. Like
right.
it's
Yeah, in Soviet Russia, you don't get a new job. New job gets you. That's what happens.
what's a country in Russia? You wait online for toilet paper. In America, toilet paper comes to you. I still wish there was like during the pandemic there was like an update to Yakov Smirnoff, like because like we were waiting, we couldn't find toilet paper and all that shit
Yeah,
during
that would
the
have been
pandemic.
great. That was
Yeah,
his moment.
this is the moment to
So,
come back and do like a reverse. In Russia,
well,
toilet paper everywhere. America, what a country.
we're coming up on the halfway point of this season, and I did read over the last weekend, an interview with the showrunners, and they said that they feel real good about getting a season 5, and they're hoping to get a 5 and then a 6 and finish it. And they
Don't be
said that
greedy. Just worry about getting 5.
yeah. Well, honestly, I think that to me, I would go 5 and then be done.
Yeah, I would do. I can't unless you got something really good. I feel like it's like I think you end it where you kind of catch up to like our time and just make us all depressed when you show like what the world could have been like.
Yeah.
Who
Well,
knows? The world might be an end. That's the joke too.
I've always heard that they want to end it pretty far in the future. Like not like thousands of years, but like a couple hundred years in the future.
I mean, it will if they even just went like 20 years in the future, it would probably feel more futuristic than anything we have now.
True. Well, anyway, it's a great show. I'm hoping it stays great. I'm pretty sure it will. The cast is great. The writing's pretty solid.
We got like a little. It was interesting. They brought up when Daniel kind of gets into a fight with Ed. When they're arguing and everything, and then she gets all mad and said, "This is what you do. You protect."
Oh yeah.
Specific people, and you protected. Let me see if I can find that
Danny.
Guy. Danny. Yep.
Yeah.
Man, all these people have like similar names.
They do.
Daniel. Dale. Dalebert.
Yeah. Dalebert. Yeah, and I get the feeling like that. I'm surprised they haven't revealed what happened yet.
They did, and I was like, wait, they still like, is he dead? Like, what's going on here?
He's got to be dead. He's got to be. I think it's just the circumstances of his death that are the.
I bet you he isn't. I don't know. I bet he isn't.
Well, I will say,
if he's alive or dead doesn't matter. The consequences of what he did, and that's the thing too. That's the reason why Ed's daughter the kid doesn't have a father because the father died because of Danny's bullshit.
I think if he died, they would have said it. So my guess, I bet you're right. I'll bet you he's either like maybe he lives in the North Korean compound now or something, or maybe
or I don't know. I just would find it hard to believe that he's still in that.
I know he's not
years
still.
Later, I find it hard to believe that they would sustain that little ship.
No, he's not still there. But
he would have killed himself, I think, by that point.
Well, that may have happened too. But
yeah, that is true.
Anyway, all right. So we got the next show is Monarch. I thought it was a good episode. It didn't feel like very consequential to me. It felt like we were getting a lot of like mythology early in the series, and this episode.
It had no flashbacks. This one, you notice? It had like a year, like a flashback from a year ago, I think maybe.
I think so, but like basically all you learn is that what's his face is still alive. The father, not Braga. What's his name? Braga.
The two kids.
Yeah.
Their dad.
Yeah. All you learn is that he's still alive.
Oh,
and that's just.
I guess I forgot.
Yeah, that's essentially the big reveal. And I always kind of suspected that anyway. But
I still think what's his face? You're gonna find out Lee is Lieutenant Lee or whatever. He's their grandfather. He's biological grandfather.
That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was solid. It looks great. But it just felt a little like, okay.
They fight that monster. The monster is cool, but it was okay. I think the pacing was different because they didn't do that. It was interesting that they didn't really have that, flashbacks thing that where they would go back and the story would kind of interweave a little bit. But I did like, he brings up like how if you're around like a Titan or anything like that, it does weird things. So, like it does something weird to the Earth. It does weird shit to you, which is probably why he is still like, not just that he's alive, but that he's
young.
Like he looks 20 years younger than he should be, or whatever. Like he doesn't, he's someone who's supposed to be like in his 90s, and he looks like he's probably in his like 60s.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it has something to do with time. And I think it has something to do with like dimension shifting or something like that. But
I just think the pacing felt different from the other episodes.
It was good. It just wasn't great. I don't think it's a great. What was this? A third episode or fourth?
Yeah, and then there was some other big revelations. Like there was that guy. It's kind of like they make him out to be like he's like the weirdo.
Oh yeah.
Him, they got the glasses. Like
Yep.
he's like the Bill from For All Mankind. That guy, the guy who's like in the wheelchair.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Like that guy, but like a little leaner and on the a little more physically. He works with that Russian lady, but like something comes up. They have like some big revelation in this episode. I thought about the
Well,
mom something.
he he realizes that they're with the Kurt Russell character.
Yeah,
And that's a big revelation to him. And then at the end, when they exit the helicopter, Kurt Russell and the two younger people, they're greeted by him, and that's kind of like a twist, I guess.
So you said they find out though that their father is still alive.
Yeah, they found that out because early in the episode they talked about how he'd leave pencil shavings everywhere, and the guy disappeared en route to this base in Alaska, never made it. But they find out that he did make it because the male character goes into a cabin or something to take refuge from the monster, and he sees a bunch of pencil shavings on the floor. Yeah. And from that, he deduces that his father was there recently, must have actually made it to Alaska, didn't perish on the way to Alaska, and is somewhere in the area even now. So, I mean, that was like a reveal. Like, I don't know if I expected him to be alive or dead. I guess I kind of expected him to be alive the whole time, but this kind of confirms it. So,
yeah,
it's good. Well, it was a good episode.
I'm curious where the show will go. I really have no clue. I'm wondering how it'll work in with the movies. Did you see the trailer for Godzilla Kong 2?
No, I don't think so.
What, you didn't watch that trailer? Godzilla and Kong?
When did it come out? I did. Yes, I'm sorry.
You know, they're like running in the end. All these like nerds.
Yes.
Are like, doesn't run like that. Godzilla doesn't exist. Who gives a shit? People were showing like videos of him like flipping.
Yeah, I saw that.
Doing like weird kicks. It's like, yeah, your point. Like, it's so dumb. People are stupid. Like, Godzilla doesn't run like that. Oh yeah, you ever met him? You ever asked him to run? We never seen him run before.
Yeah. No, it'll. I am kind of curious to see how this ties into all those.
But, I love it. It looks stupid as fuck. I can't wait to see it. It looks awesome. It's like they're not even like they're going full dumb. I love it.
Yeah.
Like they got the baby Kong in it.
Godzuki.
Well, I guess like it's an orangutan. Like it's a warring tribe of Kongs because like, his tribe's like dead. He's the only survivor.
Yeah, right.
There's like a warring tribe because you see the bad guy and it's like a giant orangutan. I'm curious, like, man, like, can the Earth survive having like a whole tribe of like 400-foot gorillas? I think that would just like, I don't think that.
Doesn't seem
that kind
doesn't seem sustainable.
No, not at all. Like, because then if you have creatures like that exist, they have to eat. That means you need to have like plants and animals that they eat that are similar in size or up so that when they eat the amount of calories they need. I know this is really stupid. Now I'm the guy complaining about Godzilla.
It's just that the Earth isn't.
Godzilla can't run like that.
The Earth isn't meant to house giant creatures like that anymore. It's just not. It's not
sustainable. It just doesn't. No, it's just not. It's not going to work.
Well, no. Well, speaking of things that aren't going to work, we are. For a moment, I was going to try to transition into the GOP debate, but we were going to talk about.
Well, this guy
Santos.
He's working. This different kind. He's not working in Congress anymore. He got kicked out Friday.
Yeah, it was kind
of doing. He just does cameos now. He's going to make $1 billion off of it.
Well, it's kind of a weird thing. I'm a little surprised he got kicked out, to be honest with you. I thought, especially once the GOP leadership said, no, we're going to keep him. I thought that he would get kept. But I guess there was enough Republicans in swing districts that just couldn't deal with it anymore. I think one of the big things is a lot of the New York delegation, the Republicans out of New York, were like, we're going to get crucified if we keep this.
Well, the Republicans in New York wanted him gone a long time ago.
Yeah.
Like the Republican Party in New York, they were like, he's like, why did I get picked? There's so many like corrupt people in Congress. It's like, dude, you're just so dumb about it. Like,
Yeah,
so
he was
about it. Like, okay. So I was like watching, I don't know, it was like Internet Today or something. They were talking about like how, like, even in like in blue, like in red states, when Democrats run like bullshit campaigns against a Republican, knowing that they're going to lose, kind of like when what's her face ran against Mitch McConnell. It was just like a grift,
Yeah.
Just money and disappears. But he probably was like, I'll run this grift, I'll collect a bunch of money, and then I'll lose and I'll vanish. And that's like kind of like a lot of Republicans, I guess, do in New York. It's just like, it's like a grift. Like they're not going to win. But the problem with him is that I think because he claimed all these things, he made himself out to be better than like your typical Republican. And then by doing so, he got elected. Like,
yeah.
He was gay, he was married, he was Jewish, supposedly.
Yeah. He said he was Jewish.
He said that afterwards. And he went to Baruch, and then you find out he never went. He claimed that he did all these things, all these schools. Yeah. And he lied about all of it. He got caught. If he didn't get elected, he just would have moved on to the next grift.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. I think he flew too close to the sun. And now the joke is he just does like cameo. And I don't know how long that's going to last, but
yeah,
he's going to probably pull in a couple six figures before the month's over.
Yeah, I could see him going on like a Dancing with the Stars or something like that.
I don't think he'll be on that. I don't know. I have a feeling that I'm curious. I mean, he's got like, he might go to jail still, right? Isn't he?
Oh, yeah. He's got a lot of like legitimate criminal charges against him.
Yeah, I mean, I know Dancing with the Stars and these other type of reality shows are pretty craven. They'll put on, fucking
they had Tom DeLay.
They had Giuliani on, not Giuliani from like 10 years ago, post 2020 Giuliani.
Yeah.
I mean,
Dancing with the Stars had Tom DeLay and
Sean
Spicer. Yeah, I mean, they're
Tucker
pretty.
Carlson was also on it. Yeah, they love putting on their right wing creeps. I just don't think. I think George Santos was never fully accepted among the Republicans. I think like obviously the fringe characters like were friendly with him, like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Boebert and like Matt Gaetz and everything. I think but I think like I don't think he was respected in the party at all. He knows
right. I think the big thing is that like he wasn't a fundraiser. He wasn't bringing anyone in any money, you know. And Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene, they'll show up at a rally and bring somebody in a lot of money, so they're tolerated in that sense. But I don't know. It was a good riddance. I mean, obviously he needed to be gone. I mean, a lot longer.
It's crazy sooner. That he was there for a year.
Yeah,
only less than a year. He was only in there, and I feel like he was in there for like 2.5 decades.
it feels like he was there forever,
It's crazy.
It's just such a weird story. Like I'm used to like a detail about a politician's career being fabricated. He went to Harvard, but he never graduated, or he worked for GM, but as an intern, he wasn't really a executive. I'm used to like shit like that, but like this dude was so comically over the top.
Yeah, and then you find out like that's not even his name, and his name is Anthony Boulder. He lied about his mom being at 9/11, and she was in New York. And he also claimed that she died somewhere else too. She died like twice.
It's just crazy,
real crazy shit. Just like, I mean, it was like just deranged how much lying. It was like a joke, like John Lovitz's lying character, but like it was great. John Lovitz played him on like all that. Every talk show had their actor that played. They got the guy who played Guillermo to play him. Max already announced that there's a movie coming out. They're working on
Yeah.
a movie. I'm curious if they're going to get to play him.
Jeez.
Like I said, I'm sure there's like 12 documentaries in the work.
Yeah.
It's going to be like a couple of movies. Yeah, he's probably going to jail. I mean, the guy is super corrupt. That story about the veteran and ripping him off with the
Yeah.
dog charity scam, just real gross. I mean, the guy's disgusting. He's a real piece of shit.
Yeah.
He's slightly amusing for like probably some of it's probably just for the wrong reasons, but
Yeah. I mean, if he were a real life person, he wouldn't be amusing at all. It's only because he's kind of like we respond to the caricature of him in his public life.
the way he dresses and everything is like
Yeah.
silly, and he's all exaggerated.
Right.
The guy's a clown, but in the end of the day, he's gross. I mean, he voted for gross things.
Yeah.
He's done gross things. Good riddance. I mean, you can't tolerate that shit. If you allow him, you're just gonna get worse. People are gonna come in, which is ridiculous. You're like, how could it get worse? And then you're like, it could get worse.
Yeah.
You gotta, and by getting rid of him too, you kind of like put in a little like you're next, buddy. Like, you know what I mean? To like anyone else. I do appreciate though that he said he was gonna like unleash hell and put out information. He was going after that one lady.
Yeah.
Like stock tips or something.
Stock tips. Then he insinuated that she was gay, and
probably right about that.
It seems like he got tired of that pretty quickly, and then stopped tweeting gossip.
I think he got his calendar for what do you call it filled up too quickly.
Yeah, for
Vine is not Vines, his cameo thing blew up. So I think he's like, I gotta make some money. I gotta cover my lawyer fees.
Right. Jeez.
So we'll see what happens to him. I think it's gonna be like the joke will be it's like another Tiger King thing where
you're
gonna be able to and I know it's like, yeah, it's another gay guy, whatever, but there's some similarities in some ways, like with the whole reality show aspect to it. Like the joke was with Tiger King, he was in prison before Tiger King came out, right? Like,
yeah,
he's already in jail, and
right.
he probably, I'm sure he made some money. He probably has some money being collected,
probably.
But he couldn't. I don't think he was able to fully take advantage, and I think that's what's going to happen with Santos is that he's going to end up going to jail, and he's not going to be able to, so
enjoy any of his notoriety or whatever.
I mean, I think what's going to happen is he's gone, and by next year we're going to forget about him, and then like around March you'll see, or June or whatever, you'll see on Netflix. There's a documentary about him, resurface. But the craziest thing about him gone now is like literally the Monday coming back, Kevin McCarthy announced that he's not running for Congress again.
Yep.
And that not just is he not running for Congress, he's actually leaving this month. He's done. He's out of here.
Yeah.
Put out he said the same exact thing as Santos. No, I'm kidding. He wore the same outfit. He wore the same exact outfit.
It's kind of crazy. Like, I don't think there's anything super complicated to this other than that he doesn't want to see these people anymore. He
turned on him.
He got to be Speaker of the House. He was an
embarrassing way.
In a humiliating way.
Yep.
All he wanted to do was to help these awful people advance their awful goals, and they treated him like shit. And now he's just pissed. He's like, we had it all.
Some weird little religious freak who
doesn't understand shit and is probably going to get nothing done. And I mean, it's just, it's like that Dark Universe photo. I still look at that photo of him, Kevin McCarthy, and Paul Ryan, and
the Young Guns.
Yeah, and they failed so miserably. And he had for the briefest of moments the success of his dreams, Speaker of the House, and every day was ruined by these.
I don't know. I think they all succeeded and gave the Koch brothers exactly what they wanted at the time.
I agree, like ideologically, but like
No, I meant financially.
Yeah, well, this is not what he wanted. He wanted to go to work every day and sit in the speaker's chair and swing.
He wanted the respect that he thought he deserved. And
yes, exactly.
Get on by like the worst fucking congressman, Matt Gaetz.
Yeah, Matt Gaetz is like dog walking you down the aisle. I mean, like,
yeah, like Matt Gaetz put out like some tweet, and people were about Kevin McCarthy, and people were like, "Thank you, Matt Gaetz, for making it easier for the Dems to take over Congress."
Yeah.
Like the way things are going, the Democrats might be in charge of Congress by March next year.
All it will take is one super spreader event.
And no, like, what's the lead now? How many leads are there?
I think they're by 2. I think they have a 2-seat advantage.
That is insane. That's all they have now.
So
because
that means
unless something completely fucks up, a Dem is going to end up taking George Santos' seat. I mean, unless they run the worst candidate or people just sleep in that district. If I was a Democrat in that district, I would be like foaming in that. Like, you got to get the word out and be like, no, this seat, we need to get this seat back. And then I don't know how it works in California. I don't know if there's a special election or can fill the seat right away.
No, I think the way it works is that they have to call a special election, but I think the timing of it makes it so that Gavin Newsom can simply drag his feet and leave that seat vacant, because it will go to a Republican again. That's like a super conservative.
It's like Orange County, right?
Yeah. So I think Gavin Newsom will probably just like leave that open for as long as he can.
So even if you don't fill those seats, just the fact that there's no Republican in there reduces the count. Therefore, their lead is like even less now.
Yeah. So and stuff happens all the time. A lot of these congressional people are very old, or I mean, like, it could be that like by March the Democrats are on the House.
It wouldn't shock me one bit.
No, that would not. It would surprise me, but not shock me. Or it could be that the Republicans get a bigger lead because something weird happens to a few Democrats. But the fact of the matter is, they needed George Santos's vote. Now they don't have it. And
they voted to get rid of him. I mean, all the Dems voted, but enough Republicans voted to get rid of him.
They said another big thing for the Republicans is that Kevin McCarthy was a fundraising machine.
Yeah.
And he's not going to do
Mike Johnson is too much of a religious zealot, I think, to I don't know. I think that Kevin McCarthy was like the perfect kind of Republican in that he was able to like be like not too crazy, but like knew how to pander or patronize them enough that he could say the right things but not be too much to the point where he's like, oh, Kevin McCarthy's just another QAnon nut job. No, they would really say that. He just knew how to like fence it and everything like that. And they don't got old Kevin to kick around anymore.
Nope, they sure don't.
Oh. Poor young gun, poor Billy the Kid, Emilio Estevez, Young Guns too. To go.
Young Guns 2 was pretty good. That had Christian Slater as Arkansas Dave Rudabaugh.
That was the one where you find out they're talking to like an old man. And
yes.
Technically Emilio Estevez. I don't think I remember that movie. I just remember that and the makeup effects looking weird.
Yeah, but that was good.
I was joking. The podcast just turns into talking about the Young Guns movie. And then there were a bunch of movies like that. I remember they tried making like a Young Guns type movie with the mob. And Richard Grieco was like Warren Beatty's character, and what was it? Was Bugsy?
Bugsy, yeah.
Yeah, and like I think Patrick Dempsey was that Jewish guy.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, they made Young Guns but it was for like the mob. And I swore there was like another one of those dumb movies. Like another.
I think there were. But Young Guns was great, I thought.
So stupid.
Anyway, all right. So the next big story is that the GOP had a debate. The 4 current GOP candidates minus Trump were there. So you had, and someone pointed this out. They said it was from like look, they're all lunatics and all awful, but if you went from left to right, you got like the spectrum. So you had Chris Christie stood to the left of the stage, and he was probably the most reasonable of those people in his own awful way.
Yeah.
And then you had Nikki Haley, who was kind of normal. Again, an awful. And then you had Ron DeSantis.
Their obsession with TikTok is ridiculous. Let me tell you.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Her war against TikTok is not going to work in her favor. That is really stupid.
Everyone loves TikTok. Everyone loves TikTok.
Like, just let TikTok, you want to get rid of TikTok, just have Elon Musk try to buy it. Oh, wait, he can't. He wasted all his money on Twitter. But that's how you get rid. You want to ruin TikTok? You want to
get invest in it.
Zuckerberg or one of these idiots to try to buy it, and then they'll fucking ruin it. And then the kids move on to something else.
What is the end game of this Chinese infiltration of TikTok?
It's like the dog. What is it? The dog catching the car.
Yeah.
The Republicans have been doing this China hawkery thing for years. They even brought up Iran. They use the Israel thing as again to go after Iran. They've been wanting to start a war with Iran going back decades. I mean, during the Iraq War, if the Iraq War was successful, it would have totally led to an Iran invasion. And they were hinting at that the whole entire presidency of George W. Bush. I remember that. They were coming up with war plans and all that shit. But China, I mean, what are you going to start a war with China? That's fucking stupid. That's the end of the world.
Yeah.
It's the end of the economy.
They have 1 billion people.
One
out of every 5 people on Earth lives in China. Do you think you're going to take on China?
It's not even just that. You will just completely destroy the way people live their lives. Oh, why don't we have anything in stores? I don't know. He started a war with China.
Yeah. Right.
What?
Why can't?
I don't know. It's insane. The fucking Republican Party has done everything in their power to teach companies how to skirt unions by moving factories and everything into other countries. And the joke is that America has probably helped China become what it is today.
Totally.
I mean, we've given them all our patents. We've sent everything because we didn't want to pay unions. We didn't want to pay the factories. We want to make more money. And then it's so. Obviously it's racism involved. It's another. That's the thing about this whole debate that was insane. Did they talk about jobs once?
No.
These 4 debates. Did they talk about anything? They talked about nothing.
Some of that was this group of moderators was just awful. It was
what's her face that rancid.
It was Megyn Kelly.
Oh, is this like an offshoot of Fox or something? What the fuck?
I don't know. I
get it on my TV sometimes, like Live Nation or something. I think it's
it was News Nation.
Yeah, whatever.
And I don't think it's affiliated with Fox. It may have been an offshoot of it, but
is this the one? What's his face there too? That little guy who said who worked for Trump. Was that guy there?
Tom Fenton was there. I saw.
Oh, that's how. Okay, no, I'm thinking of that other guy, the one who said that Trump had the biggest crowd. Period.
Oh,
he did Dancing with the Stars too.
Sean Spicer, I don't know. He may have been there.
That little weirdo.
The moderators were terrible. I thought the debate was terrible too. It's so confusing. These debates, to me, only exist really for Ron DeSantis and maybe Nikki Haley, because Vivek Ramaswamy, he's not going to get the nomination.
A turd. He literally said he told Chris Christie to go eat a
meal.
I was like, oh my God, I can't. He said the woke industrial complex. Yeah,
it's just so.
What the fuck does that even mean?
But even most Republicans don't like him. They.
Oh no, I think they love. I don't know. I don't know.
Anyway, so Chris Christie's not.
Go ahead. What?
And Chris Christie's not really going to get the nomination. He's there for his own reasons.
He's just there to go contracts with
yes,
Disney or something.
So all the questions
He's
are
gonna
kind
be
of
afloat at the next Thanksgiving Day parade because he's
all
a.
all the questions are just designed to either prop up Trump in some way, or I
I
don't
love
know.
Christie was the only one to like call out and say, "How come no one's
Yeah,
attacking Trump?" It's like,
yeah,
dude, what the fuck? That's all they should have been doing. All them should have the entire 4 debates with Trump not being there. That's your time to call him out. Call him a coward.
yeah.
Say you can't even confront me, Nikki Haley. How we know you're gonna confront whatever his name is in China? How we know you're gonna be able to handle what's going on in Israel? How we know you're gonna handle like you can't debate Vivek. You can't debate Ron DeSantis. We expect you can't show up to a debate against Doug Burtham or whatever his name was,
Well,
or
I'll tell you,
like
someone said that Trump, before any of the debates, Trump had a 50-point lead, and after the debates, after the last debate, he has a 60-point lead. So why should he debate?
yeah,
He's killing it.
like he would not attack him.
Yeah.
Like
He
that's
should.
insane.
Trump should point that out. Trump should be like, they're all scared of me. None of them dare say
I
a
don't know.
word
Isn't
about
he
me.
like too busy in court to say anything?
Well, I'll tell you the one thing that frustrates me more than anything else is, and I've seen this for like a while now. Whenever anyone points out something negative about Ron DeSantis, he just in his stupid little voice says, "No, that's not true. That's a lie." And some of them are so clearly true. Like even Ron DeSantis would agree they're true on a different day, but he just like, nope, that's a lie. That's not true. And he just like no one calls him on it. No one is prepared for him to say that.
I don't understand. That's the other thing too. Like, none, like Nikki Haley and Vivek attack each other, and
Yeah,
they all attack Vivek. But like, I mean, Chris Christie did. I guess he did go after DeSantis a little bit,
a little bit.
a little bit.
Oh,
But
he went after DeSantis a lot when DeSantis refused to say whether or not Trump was
yeah,
for office. Uh, Christie really pressed him on it, but Ron DeSantis still wouldn't say it. I mean, I don't know. But like no one, and I get how like the moderators don't want to call out a Republican because they're all Republicans themselves, but like
yeah, which is ridiculous.
at some point,
Bullshit.
like during and I know we're going to talk about it next, but during the Gavin Newsom debate, Gavin Newsom was like, you had Toni Morrison banned. He's like, that's not true, but it's 100% true.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
it's
banned
like
all these
literally,
books
yeah. I mean, like,
unless you are completely unaware and you
yeah,
don't give a shit and don't pay attention to what you actually do.
and
You books.
no one is able to say like, okay, look, it may be technically true that you, Ron DeSantis, didn't ban this book, but you set up a law that says anyone can challenge a book, and if it's challenged, it's banned. And as a result, some freak in Ocala, Florida, has banned every Toni Morrison book in every county in the state. So no one comes back with like, look, you did do that. I mean, like you can kind of like weasel your way out of it semantically, but you banned those books and you did put a law that says don't say gay. And you did all these things. And he's just like, that's not true. That's not true. Fucking someone needs to have a plan to address that. I think. I mean, I don't know whether it's a moderator of a debate or
Well, it
another
doesn't matter
candidate.
now. That was the last. That was the last debate, right?
No, I heard there's a couple
There might be during
after
the when there
during the
actually is an election.
yes.
This was the last debate before the first election in the beginning of January.
Yeah. See,
So
then
this is
that's
how pathetic that is. I
yeah.
mean, there's no. It's like what Sam Cedar said. He repeated like a joke that he heard someone else said, like two bald men are fighting over a comb. like, like none of these people are going to be president. Like I said,
True.
I still think that I still think DeSantis is a threat until he drops out.
Yeah, sure.
But it's gonna be fucking. I don't know what the fuck it's gonna be. Like the idea that Trump could come back is fucking insane.
It's
Well,
insane. If he was a Democrat, he would never be allowed to be back. If a
look,
Democrat, Democrat Trump did 1/10 of what Republican Trump did, they would make him out to be the biggest terrorist on the planet.
I don't see how anyone beats Trump in the Republican primary. I just don't see it. Ron DeSantis is behind 30 points in Florida.
Yeah, no, they said more than that. Didn't they say like 40?
It could be. I don't know.
Yeah, that was in the. I think Newsom called him out on that.
Yeah. What do you can't if Meatball Ron doesn't win Florida, where is he going to win? Where's Ron DeSantis more popular than Trump?
Florida, because Trump couldn't be governor of Florida while he was president.
Yeah,
that's the only reason.
But where in what
Trump
state will anyone? In what state will anyone beat Trump?
None. Yeah,
none. That's the answer.
I don't know. I mean, honestly, that's where they all fucked up. Is that I think if they just made a bigger case and went after him, that there could have been like an upset in Iowa, and the fucking DeSantis or Haley or fucking even Rick Scott could have like fucking came out and been the head. And sometimes they say like person who wins in Iowa tends to not. It's like whoever wins in one of those states ends up not being the nominee. Sure. But it would have been enough to just make Trump insane if Trump lost even just one state and it was in that first election. He would have lost his fucking mind, especially because he didn't attend the debates. He would say it was rigged. He would go insane. It would be so fucking funny.
Well, DeSantis has spent all his time and money in Iowa, and he's still a bajillion points behind Trump.
Yeah, it's so pathetic. I mean, DeSantis again looking like, my wife was watching it last night, and she was like, "What's up with his arms?" I'm like, "Yeah, he just went to the arms store that day." And you gotta get, when you get like new shoes, you're like, feel a little different. Like the heels are like a little more solid. Your walk's a little different. He knows that too with his like 17-inch heels he wears. Like he is arms. I think I know why. I was saying to my wife, I think I know why his arms sit like that. I think he wears a fucking girdle.
That could be.
I think he wears a suit that's a little tighter than he wants it to be.
Yeah.
He trains his arms, and he's wearing some kind of fucking girdle. Hold that. I think so.
He always holds his arms weird.
Makes his arms a little stiff because if he were to like go, he does. He'd rip the seam.
He has the physique of a penguin. I just looked at the Iowa polls. Okay, Meatball Ron has spent like all his time and money in Iowa. Currently, Trump is at 46%. DeSantis is at 20%, and Haley's at 18%. So Haley and DeSantis together, if they combined all their percentages, would still be behind Trump. Trump beats everyone.
I know, it's ridiculous. But again, like I said, we don't live in a normal country. These candidates were like, they were all bullshit. It's like they don't talk about anything. They talk about the border. They talk about Israel, but they talk about it in the most ridiculous. Yeah. Everything's in the most euphemic, like juvenile, like just not. It's like babies. Like everyone, like they think we're all babies. Like America is the shining fortress on the hill. It's like, shut up. Like, what about like healthcare? Like, make sure that trans kid can't play sports. Like, that's it. Like, they have nothing. Yeah. They won't talk about anything real. And the least they could have done these 4 debates was just shit on Trump.
Yeah, right.
They're fighting with this clown, Vivek, who will never win a primary or win anything. He's like, hey, you like Andrew Yang, but you wish he was more fucking obnoxious and revolting.
I just can't see.
I will say this, I did like him the most in this debate just because of his interactions with them. It was like he somehow was like the least obnoxious in this one. But
he still is GOP Jean Ralphio. That's
Oh yeah, he is. He's like, this debate is boring. Yeah, he should brought his sister out.
Yeah, Mona Lisa.
Yeah. Like he totally is the Gene Raphael of the Republican debates. Again, it's just like it was the best debate just because there was only 4 of them on stage.
Yeah.
But I mean, best is like pushing it. They just it was like I was watching, I'm like, this is kind of depressing because it's like the guy who they won't go after the guy who's winning and isn't there. Why would you not like if I was one of those candidates, which I'm not, but if I was one of them, I would try to make as many digs against Trump. Like,
yeah.
you don't even debate me. You expect him to stand up for this country when he can't even stand up for himself on this stage? That's all one of those fuckers had to say.
Yeah.
You have the opportunity to do like it doesn't take much to demasculate Trump.
No.
Trump, the whole existence of Trump is a thin facade. And the only thing we have to do is ignore it. And they refuse to, he is literally like the emperor's wearing no clothes. They just have to call it out. Chris Christie, he will say some stuff, but he's not like, even everyone knows he's like, I don't know what he was there. Someone was paying him to be there, paying him enough that he was able to go on the stage. Really, the ones that need to say something was DeSantis, and Nikki Haley. And the two, and they did say, I feel like he said something in the last debate. DeSantis, he did say stuff, but in this debate, this last one, this is the one where they should have just like really brought up this guy didn't show up to the debates. Like, it was funny. Christie was like calling him Voldemort. He should not be named and everything. And like, but like all they had to do was say, where the fuck is he?
Yeah.
He doesn't respect the voters. He doesn't respect his party. He doesn't respect the actual position. He refuses to stand by his positions.
Yeah. I think the problem is for them.
It's just opportunist little fucks. And they're scared.
I think ultimately you have to say, and I think Christie is the only one that's saying this, is ultimately you have to say, people don't care if Trump's at the debate or not. People don't care. People want to hear, that the Republican base wants to hear, did Trump get screwed in the last election or not? Because if you believe Trump got screwed, then why are you running against him?
Yeah.
And Christie is like, he didn't get screwed, he lost, he's a loser, but all the others, they can't say, or they won't say that Trump got screwed. And if you won't say that, then why are you running against Trump?
Yeah.
Why are you not supporting Trump?
Why would Trump be scared? Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what Newsom said. I mean, I guess we might as well just move on to Newsom, the Newsom debate. Newsom literally said, you're going to, in a couple of weeks, you're going to lose and you're going to come out and support Trump.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
Last Thursday, so the debate was Wednesday for Republican one.
Yeah.
But last Thursday night, we recorded our episode last Wednesday night. But last Thursday night was the Newsom DeSantis debate. And it was on Fox. And it was a weird debate. It made no sense. Newsom agreed to do it. They talked about it. I'm surprised that they went through with it. Obviously, the only way DeSantis was going to do it on home base with Sean Hannity, but literally carrying him the whole time.
It was embarrassing.
A little joke in the end about like, you get to give me like 5 seconds to talk.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish Newsom just would call up and out in the middle of the debate and just be like, am I debating him or am I debating you?
Yeah.
Sean Hannity, like the way they would frame all the questions, like, why are you an evil piece of shit? Why
exactly?
A tire fire in Florida is a Shangri-La. I mean, it was like the most ridiculous framing of questions. So, but the joke is that the fact that DeSantis was going to debate another governor while he's running for president and Newsom is not. Basically, it's an odd, you could say like, okay, well, DeSantis knows he's not going to win the primary, or I don't know what the angle is, but anyone that any media professional or any media novice or someone in politics or would look at this debate and be like,
why is this happening? This
Well,
seems
Newsom said it best early in the debate. He's like, "Look, we have one thing in common: neither of us are going to be president.
yeah,
Not next year." You know, like
none of us are going to be president in 2024. He called them out. I mean, the debate was a mess because that's how it was designed.
Yeah,
He would just constantly lie about how amazing Florida is and lie about how horrible California is, and it
no,
was a joke. Actually, I'll tell you this: of all the fucking people that should run for fucking president, who's a
yeah,
Republican, Sean fucking Hannity.
yeah,
He should have fucking ran for president. That piece of shit, I think, would win. I think he knows he's such a media savvy little piece of garbage. He would
yeah,
know how to come off. He would come off. He would know how to be nice, which
yeah,
Trump can't be, but he would also know how to be like vindictive. But he would do it like with a smile. And I just
yeah,
think, like, dude, that guy. He could have told, they were like, Tucker Carlson could run for president. No, fuck that. Tucker Carlson is grating and repulsive.
yeah.
Like this, like Hannity, I don't like the guy, but I could see how he's likable. He's like,
He's Reagan-ish in that way,
like,
where
man, that's I'm like watching this debate between Gavin Newsom and Sean Hannity. Not because DeSantis wasn't there. DeSantis was just
yeah, that's true.
he needed Sean Hannity to carry him the entire time. That's why I said I think that only real fault I give to Newsom in this debate was well, I mean, I would say you agreed to do it on Fox, but it never would have happened if it wasn't on Fox.
Right.
DeSantis was never going to do it. But I would have called out Hannity and just been like, who am I debating here?
Yeah.
Yeah. He'd be like, "Oh, I'm asking questions here." I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like questions. They seem like you're doing this guy's job.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
I don't know. That's the only thing I would have said. Like, besides that, someone said that like you could tell Hannity would rather hang out with Gavin Newsom than Ron DeSantis any day.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he would be totally friends with him. He could talk about Kimberly Guilfoyle, how he was married. I always find that to be the funniest thing that they were.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Totally crazy. Did you see that picture of her? I guess she attended like what did she do? She went to some like MAGA event or something, and she was like in a dress.
Oh, I did see this. Yeah.
And I posted that picture of her, and it's so like it's this weird like. Let me see if I can find it real quick. It's pretty funny.
She's a lot. She is a lot to.
Oh, I said I just copy and pasted I looked up Goza the Gozerian because it kind of looks it looks like that a little bit, like the bubblies or whatever, and the sheer white. I said Goza the Gozerian is an ancient, malignant, godlike entity that was worshipped throughout history by the Hittites, Mesopotamians, and the Sumerians around 6000 BC, as well as the cult of Gozer.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I always find that bizarre. You ever see those photos of them? Like they have like this weird magazine shoot of them, like on the car. It's odd. He's a weird dude, Newsom. I mean, if he ran for president, I'd be like, whatever. He's okay. I don't. He's not like my favorite person, but I thought he handled himself fine in this thing.
It's fun.
It's just bizarre. It was an odd thing. The funniest thing though was that in the end of the debate, Newsom's like, I could do this for like another 20 minutes. And Hannity was like, yeah, let's do this. And then it comes back and it's just Hannity sitting behind his regular desk. And he's like, oh, the debate's over. I'm like, yeah, fucking DeSantis. That was
And no one ever mentioned, I meant to bring that up. No one mentioned that because you're right. At the very end, Hannity's like, oh, I wish we had another hour. And Newsom was like, I got all night. Let's go. And then Hannity said, I think we're going to go another hour. And then he
said like 20 minutes. He said like which would have been more than enough. And then back and it was done. And I was like, this fucking DeSantis. That was totally
And no one called him out on it. Like no one mentioned it. No one.
I will say this: there's enough. Even if you watch, like when I watched the clips, I watched some of the clips before I saw the debate, and obviously it made DeSantis look like he was just crushing the shit out of DeSantis the entire time. Then when you watch the actual debate, you're like, he's not really. But because again, Sean Hannity would constantly interrupt him.
Yeah.
Stop. He would frame the way he would frame questions was like
terrible.
Joseph, why are you such a piece of shit?
Yeah, that was it.
And how do you not? Why don't you stop being a piece of shit, Joseph?
Yeah, it was real brutal to watch.
You
The
ask
whole
me
thing.
a question. Just say, go ahead, ask me one, and I'll see if I can answer it. It's like, Rob, wow, you are so amazing.
Yeah.
I know. What is it like? What are you going to do next? What another amazing thing you're going to do?
Exactly. What does a person do after they've achieved every single one of their goals?
I mean, yeah, Ron. Some would say that maybe you're a saint, and some would say, "Are you a saint or are you not?" Well, Sean, I don't want to say I'm one of the saints, but Gavin, some would say that you are a bottom feeding dog. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, that was it in a nutshell.
Oh, Sean, I'm not one. I don't see, the proof is still out there. We'll see. Let me look at my stats. Oh, I'm pulling up a chart that says that you're a piece of shit.
Meanwhile, Ron's holding up his shit map.
I made poo-poo on a map and held it up. Yeah, he pulls out like a map, and it's supposed to be it's a map. It was like all the shit in San Francisco. I'm like, dude, that's some kink fetish shit right there. Yeah, John DeSantis showing his poop fetish map. This is where all the good poop is. I could go sniff it out. I go to San Francisco to sniff out poop. I
cleaned up Craigslist.
Yeah, let me tell you, I did go. I remember though, I'd go to San Francisco for meetings. And I did one time. I did get I literally stepped out of the hotel and literally like 3 feet away, a homeless man took a huge shit. And the thing about it was that I wasn't really as disgusting as it was. The thing I was most jealous of was how quickly and quick he was able to just drop that huge log. Like I was like a little jealous. I was like, "Are you bragging? Are you showing off?" Appreciate that.
Whoa.
That really did happen. I'm not making that up.
Oh yeah, I know. I believe it.
But I think it's funny how they're like obsessed with it. They're obsessed with attacking San Francisco. San Francisco is beautiful. Is there some shitty spots? Yes, there's shitty spots in every fucking city in the country.
Yeah.
Some cities have shittier spots. But you know what the thing about San Francisco, though? The amazing spots that are in San Francisco outshine the shitty spots.
Oh, yeah. No, I love San Francisco.
That's why.
And Sausalito. Sausalito's right across the bridge. That's beautiful.
There. They're like, people are leaving in droves. Oh, really? Then why is there so much fucking traffic in LA still? Let's shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Why does a 1-bedroom apartment cost $5,000 a month?
Yeah, exactly. Like, because they're trying to limit how many people. No,
it's called supply and demand.
I think one of the things that I wish came up more, I'm sure Newsom tried bringing up, was like, hey, cost of living has gone up extramentally in Florida. Are you trying to catch up with California or something? Like,
I guess that's my frustration, is that I know a lot of things about DeSantis because I used to live in Florida, and he's kind of an interesting character in a villain sort of way. And like, it seems to me that he'd be so easy to attack, and very few people attack him in the ways that to me would be like super effective. So,
DeSantis, again, it was like Hannity reminded me of like old WWF wrestling where, like, let's say, I don't know, Newsom's like Hulk Hogan, and DeSantis is like fucking Roddy Piper or whatever.
Yeah.
Because bad guy. And Bobby the Brain Heenan would be like hitting him with a chair when the ref wasn't.
Right. Yeah.
Like it was like he was like Sean Hannity was like a heel manager, like
for sure.
Manager. And it was like so stupid. It was like, it was such a joke, and they would constantly talk over him, and then they would cut him off and say he had no time. And I was like, I don't know. So that I'm done with this, but that's the only thing I would really fault Newsom at, is that he should have just called it out a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, speaking of not calling things out, Mike Johnson, current Speaker of the House, has been releasing a ton of
straight treat. Mike Johnson
has been releasing a ton of J6 footage, but then at some point he realized that with each new piece of footage he released, like a dozen chuds would get arrested, and so he started blurring out their faces.
That seems like you're doctoring footage.
And he even said on TV that he needs to protect the people participating because he didn't want the DOJ investigating them. It's like,
what was the point of all this?
I don't. That's the weird thing, is that like there's not a single, like, all for a year or two now, the Chuds have been demanding that they release the J6 footage. Literally no Democrat is against that. If anything, the Democrats want all of that footage played publicly nonstop. But they finally got the tapes released, and then they started realizing that even more people were getting arrested because they were releasing film of people committing crimes. And now they want to release the film, but they want to blur people out, and I don't. None of it makes any sense. I guess now they're trying to say that like it was a lot of feds, but if there were feds, then why blur their faces? Don't you want to show
that
them?
whole thing? We talked about that. That's like the dumbest thing in the world.
None of their motivations make any sense. All of
their
plans,
oh, there was Antifa. Like, why would they want, if Joe Biden was supposedly their candidate? Why would they attack to make Trump look bad? They don't have to make Trump look bad.
And if it was Antifa, then why aren't you happy they're in jail now?
Yeah,
like I mean, none of it makes any sense.
They got away.
Well, who's in jail? People, innocent J6ers, but we have them on tape with like bear spray and zipped.
The problem
they
is
were tricked
you are letting your eyes, ears get in the way of your heart. And you need to like pull back a little bit. You need to close your eyes, shove some knitting pins into your ears, and don't worry about it.
Well, his other big thing, Mike Johnson, was that he thinks God told him that he's going to be a Moses-like figure to bring the United States through a parted Red Sea of sorts. Just sounded super hallucinatory and kind of dangerous.
It's like, again, there's only two angles here.
Yep. Yeah.
Mike Johnson is either a insane schizophrenic who needs to be heavily medicated, or, and this is probably the true
more
one,
likely,
he is a lying con man and knows that the people who support him are jack dumbasses who believe this kind of shit.
Right.
Because Mike Johnson, he looks like he's well put together.
Sure.
He wears an $18,000 watch.
Sure.
And most insane. No, nothing against the mentally or the insane, schizophrenic community. I'm not trying to insult anyone here or anything. I hope you get the help or
it is a very significant illness.
But usually, and this is again not a knock on them, they're usually not in Congress, and they usually are not Speaker of the House. They usually are not well put together, and they usually don't walk around with an $18,000 watch. And if they do have an $18,000 watch, there's a good chance that watch is covered with some kind of body X-ray. Mike Johnson doesn't show up looking like messy Gigi Allen when he goes to
no.
He's
not. He does not have a thought disorder. He's just a carnival grifter.
Yeah. This is a guy who said he doesn't have a bank account, but walks around with an $18,000.
Like somehow cashes his paycheck. I mean, like what is like? He go down to the congressional front office, and they just give him a bunch of singles. I mean, none of this makes any sense. I don't.
He's too busy going on that app, checking out what his son's looking at on the internet.
Right.
I hope he's looking at something good today. Why won't my son look at bananahammock.com?
Speaking of apps,
son, here's some site recommendations I would like you to do. Dad, I'm not doing that again.
Well, as it turns out, Bridget Ziegler is also going on apps. She has gone on Christian Swingle, I
Can you
think.
tell us who this is?
Yeah. Okay. So Bridget, this is a weird one. Bridget Ziegler looks kind of like, she looks a little like Nicole Kidman. She's real pretty, super conservative. Anyway, she was the founder of Moms for Liberty,
which is it's a Christo-fascist group that's really just like an anti-public education group. They just want to dissolve public education.
Yep. She is on the school board in Sarasota County.
Did Ron DeSantis he's like connected to her, right?
Yep. Well, her husband is the chairperson of the Florida GOP.
Yeah, she kind of does look like a Nicole Kidman type character.
Yeah, she's super pretty. And then she's also on the Disney board that Ron DeSantis took over to dismantle Disney. So her whole big thing up until now has been getting gay out of school. But she is also
she likes to go after LGBT kids. She likes
trans kids. Oh yeah.
She likes to burn books. She again, their main goal though is to destroy public education. That is really the end game. She is just a right-wing Republican.
Yes.
Like she can put the attack on.
Go ahead. She's been using. She's been targeting gay and lesbian people as a means by which to destroy public education.
Yeah.
So as it turns out, last Thursday, I think it was, the Sarasota Police Department got a call, and it was a rape case. And a woman accused Christian Ziegler, the Florida GOP head, of raping her. And they have it on video.
Her husband, and then it was revealed that her and her husband are in a throuple with this woman.
And in the investigation,
she does all kinds of stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Bridget Ziegler and Christian Ziegler have had three-way sex with this woman who is now saying it was not consensual.
Well, these people are like the closest thing to a what do you call it? Like the teal dress women. And
it's a Handmaid's Tale thing.
Like that one when they force what's her face? June? Is that her name? What's the name? Remember when Fines and the main woman, they kind of grab her and they in a way kind of rape her.
Yeah. Well, now there's some debate as to whether or not this is going to actually there's going to be criminal charges, because they say now that people have looked at the tape and there's kind of like different ways you can look at it. But the one thing you can't look at in different ways is
that she does look like that lady a little bit from Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
What's her name again? The kind of like not a bad guy now. Now she's kind of like she was on the run. Remember
the commander's wife? I forget her name.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
never mind. She kind of looks like her a little bit.
She has said
we're talking.
She has said in a court report now, or in a police report, that she and her husband have had a three-way with this woman. And she does that in the evening and then goes to the school board the next day.
It's not gay because there's a man there. Everyone knows that's how it works. It's like if there's if there's like a woman there and you're with a guy, but the woman's there, gay. You just there's just an extra part or two there. And that's what's going on here. She's not gay. Her husband's there.
This is always kind of tough to talk about because it's certainly perfectly fine that she enjoys women. Yeah.
You know what? I think there's something wrong with that. Only for her.
Yes, exactly.
She's not allowed to do any of that. It's a sin.
I think that's wrong.
Law, God's wrath too. I think
she should not be able to listen to the Pet Shop Boys either.
Pet Shop. Why is there like a reference on this thing?
Well, you just said it's a sin, which was one of their big hits, and they're like they're like also kind of like I don't know if their sexuality, but I always kind of associate them with like gay dance culture and stuff.
There's probably a good chance.
Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah.
But now I have it's a sin in my head. So Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know. I mean, like this is so predictable.
These people are fucking hypocrites. They're all fucking freaks. You know, it's like Marjorie Taylor Greene talking about like constantly attacking gay people, constantly attacking trans people. And this fucking freaks, fucking dudes dressed up like Zangief at the gym.
Yeah, yeah,
Pegs them
it's
and
just
back. I mean,
crazy.
like, these people are fucking, they're hypocrites. Lauren Boebert claiming she's this like
Family, yeah,
bad wife, gun-toting mama bear, and she's some fucking skank, dude. Like these
yeah,
people suck. You know why? Because they're just human. They try to put up this like bullshit. And these moms of liberty people are trash. They
they're
put
the
up
worst.
on the past election, they all lost. They're garbage. Their associate Ron DeSantis, he's fucking garbage. And anyone that like the moms of liberty people, like they quoted Hitler and then they tried to like cover it. Like, fuck these people. They're trash.
Yeah, it's
I hope that
garbage.
woman gets some kind of justice. That I'm sure she's a piece of shit too. But you know, I'm not trying to take away what happened to her. I'm just saying if she's part of that group in any way, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
what happened to her is awful, and I hope that her husband faces charges, and I hope she faces equal charges because she's clearly, you know, helped him
yeah.
or whatever.
Ugh.
These people, they're just disgusting. Like, and it's not because of what they do; it's just who they are and what they. I mean, it is what they do.
Yeah,
Not this part. This is the most human thing about them.
it is. It's the most relatable
Fucking
thing.
kids. Like,
Most,
this is the most human thing you're doing. Like, I don't like this. Now I'm empathizing with you. No,
yeah,
fuck you. You're garbage. You're a hypocrite. I hope you're exposed. You're a fucking hypocrite. That's
yeah,
it. You're
yeah.
hypocrites. But I
Well,
mean, they're all hypocrites. They're all fucking hypocrites. They all get exposed at some point. And the fucking real weirdo religious people, they can be fed whatever. They'll never make it to them because whatever
yeah,
he's not going to report on this. You know, they're not going to report on the Moms from Liberty having homosexual, whatever you call it, lesbian romance with another woman. You know, like they're not going
yeah.
to report on that. They're going to.
Well, you know who's not a hypocrite
Oh no,
is Kyle Rittenham.
how's he not
Ritten,
a hypocrite?
because he
A
walks the
hippo
walk. He is exactly who he says he is, a dumb, ignorant, violent little piglet, and he's never pretended to be anything but. You know, I mean, he's
Well, he did claim to be a victim too. He said he was defending himself.
true. Okay, so
He
he's
was
a
a
maybe.
hero. He was a hero too. Remember, he went there to defend property.
Yes,
That he's
yes.
not asked to do any of
He
that.
went there to defend the super target. Um,
No,
I
it was like an empty car lot or some shit. It was like
you you posted a
I
tweet
posted
and
this guy
contained,
before and
yeah,
it got like huge response. You remember that? It was like another
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah.
He looked super weird in this Photoshop. So there's this guy named on Twitter. He's put out. Before we talk about, let's talk about this later.
Yeah,
We'll talk about this with Elon Musk. Make sure to add this. Supposedly he's going to let Alex Jones back on.
I heard that tonight. Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that when we talk about Elon next. I just wanted to make sure we're so there was this weird photo a couple months ago that he altered. His name is
The Gary Peterson.
Gary Peterson
Yeah.
USA, like this parody right wing account. And he
Yeah.
makes like really funny photoshops where he just slightly alters people and does stuff. But the stuff he does to Kyle, he's done a bunch of Kyle Rittenhouse's one.
Yeah.
Some of them are so fucking funny.
They all look a little like the Shoney's big boy.
Yeah, Bob's Big Boy. I don't know what the Shoney's thing is. It's Bob's
Well,
Big
whatever.
Boy. I know we
Bob's big
talked
boy.
about this last time, but
Yes.
you know where I come from, it's the Bob's Big Boy. I don't know who the Shoney boy is.
Well, he looks like he looks like
This is like some like what is it? What's that fast food place that has like two different names around the country?
Checkers and
No, it's not Checkers. It's the one with the star in it.
Carl's Jr. and Hardee's.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
like, come on, make up your fucking mind, dude. What is this?
Yeah.
You want to be big, you know, you're gonna have to pick one. You and Hardy's are gonna have to just fight it out.
Hardee's. Yeah. I used to love Hardee's.
Everyone knows who Carl's Jr. is. Get rid of it. So he made another one. I guess I guess Kyle Rittenhouse went on Tucker Carlson again, and there was a photo that went out, and of course Gary Peterson did his little magic to it,
And it is just fucking funny. He does this thing, just plumps up Rittenhouse's face, gives him rosy cheeks, and gave him the Bob's big boy hair. He gives him this fat belly. People the comments.
It's so funny.
The comments on this is so fucking funny. So I reposted it. I said, this thing has been this is insane. So I just tweeted the photo. I tagged him. I made sure to tag him. So he's in it. And it says, Kyle Rittenhouse looking very healthy and robust. And this thing blew the fuck up. It's got 17 million views.
Yeah.
I know. I'm not a rapper or no Kardashian. They say do something and they get a billion for just on they could literally just type fart and it would
blow up.
But of course it got community noted. Now it's but the community note was so good for a little while. The picture has been digitally altered. Rittenhouse's face and belly are significantly more plump. Carlson's facial expression has been changed to a grimace, and there's a weird swirl around Tucker's dick. Yeah, he did something to he just turned Tucker Carlson's mouth upside down.
Yeah.
Our face. It is fucking hysterical. But the best thing about this, I said, I posted 1,000 times. Bob's big boy was trending the other day because of this.
Yeah.
Gary Peterson posted. He's like, well, I wonder why this was trending. Dude, Bob's big boy trended because of
Does he looks like Bob's big boy? The
hair.
My
brother posted it first. He posted it, and you had a really good comment. That thing's gotten a ton of people. You wrote, little feller is probably just thrilled Tucker let him live in that gingerbread house. And I responded, Tucker's gonna throw Rittenhouse in his oven and eat him on Christmas. Dude, this thing, the comments though are so stupid. This isn't real. This is clearly fake. This is bad footage. He was killing pedos that day. You support these people are psychopaths. Anyone that still defends this little fucking creep. I don't even know what disgusting world you live in. What kind of vile person will defend this little murderer, this little pig murderer? He killed these people. And the fucked up thing is someone said, okay, let's say they were exactly what you said these people were. Kyle didn't know that when he killed them.
Yeah, no.
So that doesn't mean, and if he did know, that would mean intent.
Yeah. It's just the whole thing is crazy. I remember, who was the guy that shot and killed Trayvon Martin? It was George
Zimmerman. Yeah.
George Zimmerman. Yeah. George Zimmerman tried to be, he got a little burst of popularity, and then people kind of quickly realized this is too disgusting.
Culture was different. You didn't have Trump as president yet.
That's what I was gonna say, is that
I remember he was supposed to do do a signing at an NRA thing, and they ended up dropping him.
Yeah.
But Trump in power and the Proud Boys and all that stuff, this became socially acceptable for for a decent portion of the country.
That's the thing, is that
and he is plump. He has red cheeks,
all American
little pig boy.
Yeah, and prize pig.
Zimmerman didn't look like that, he didn't have that thing,
No.
I
remember when that famous photograph of little Kyle Rittenhouse when he was just a little one, and the spider had written "some pig" over his crib, and his parents were going to get rid of him, but
he's friends with not a possum. What was it? A ferret?
Yeah, it was Kyle's Web, they called it, and it was.
Yeah, was he in? I remember that movie Kyle was in. Kyle in the City.
Yeah.
That sequel.
Yeah, he was great.
He's great in that one. Yeah, he's great. I like that one.
So anyway,
he's really good in the Simpsons movie when he showed up. Pig. Dude, like, I mean, again, it's so gross. Like, he killed these people, and there's so many of these scumbags out there to defame these people. Like, the one guy was like a wife abuser, the other one was a pedophile. They say all these horrible things. I'm like, I don't think any of that shit is true. None of that. I don't even debate. I'm not gonna argue with these fucking psychopaths. Block them. I'm like, fuck this.
Well, if you start debating that, you have stopped
debating
lost. the murder thing. So
fuck these people. He's a piece of shit. I hope the families go after him. He's just gross. But the grossest thing about, someone was like, oh, you shouldn't make fun of him. Like, all these people are taking advantage. I'm like, no, fuck him. He's fully embraced it.
Yeah.
No. There's no sympathy for him. He's no victim. He's like, you see him, he's like a pig in shit when he's at Mar-a-Lago. Remember that photos of him?
Yep.
Like,
oh yeah.
He's loving it. Like, he's like a little, like, goes on podcasts and he demands the president to apologize to him.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck are you, dude? The president? Well, you know what? I was pressured to do it, but I'm going to put it out. The little piggy boy over there. It's an apology. Like, actually, if Joe Biden apologized to him, that's how he do it. Apology. I mean, I never got to meet the Bob's Big Boy before, and this is quite an honor. So I'd like to apologize to you, Bob's Big Boy.
Should do it holding an ice cream cone the whole time.
You want a little lick? You a little hug? This is apology to him. Bob's Big Boy over there. I haven't seen that in years. I didn't know you were a murderer. Dude, it's insane. I mean, I was like looking at it, like my the video with the Trump in court. That one, I still have that as my pin. That's been seen 2.2 million times, and I thought that was pretty amazing. But I can't believe the thing has been seen 17. Dude, this photo, like, I don't know. I didn't make it, so I don't think I'm gonna use it for the caption. But we should post it on our Instagram story.
Sure. Yeah. We can do that.
This guy is like so good at just like taking things and the nerds that complain, they're like, if you look at the floor, it's like curved. It's like, do you know what a good time is, you fucking dork? Like, this is funny. This is visually a funny picture.
Yeah.
You don't even know who the fuck these people are. You see this photo, and you're like, what the fuck is going on here? Why is that guy's face like that? Why is this guy's cheek so rosy? People's comments, though, really thought this photo was real. They're like, Kyle's eating good. Kyle's been getting a lot of money from his grift. He's eating.
Well, I'll tell you, the first time I saw a Gary Peterson photo, I did a double take. I was like, oh my God. And then I looked at it and I was like, wait a minute. And then the more you look, there's like more to see. Like, you can look at that image that you tweeted, and like, it took me like several different lookings at it to realize Tucker's smile. Like, I was like focused
people,
on.
Of course, my favorite is someone posted it, and like the original.
Yeah.
Dude, someone made a GIF though, and made them like Santa Claus.
Oh, nice.
With the elf, and there's a fat little elf. The best is like, this is not the real photo, this is the real one. And someone wrote, nah, this is clearly fake. There's 2 black bars on top. Because someone didn't like crop the image. Like, they just took
nice
bars on their phone. They're so fucking funny. Yeah, he's like Santa. He's going by Santa Gary right now, and he's like, trending in the United States. Bob's Big Boys. Was it something I did? What else? Man, it's so fucking funny.
All right, so we have two topics left over. We have Elon's truck, and we have self-checkout. So we were talking about Elon's truck first. You sent me a video of this truck.
There's been a lot of reviews on it.
Yeah.
People who like actually understand cars and everything. I saw this one video that said that the car's totally unsafe because it's gonna like kill people, because car manufacturers make their cars to have crumple zones to absorb impact.
And this car doesn't have those. It's like it's supposed. He said it's like a car from the 50s or something. Like it's these solid metal cars, and people think like, oh, these cars were made to last or build, but it's like no, they were not designed to survive car crashes.
Well, yeah, it's the most striking thing to me. Well, the first striking thing was the guy said, like, look, just this will.
Well, this is a different guy I was talking about, but yeah, the video I sent you.
Yeah, he was like, this, they won't be able to sell this in Europe because of A, B, and C. And I was like, oh, yeah, I think that's true. And like, that'll suck because like you can't manufacture a car just for the US. But the other one was like the distance between the steering wheel and the front of the window, it's like 6 feet or something. Like,
Yeah,
if you got
like laying.
it would be like a 3-minute free fall if you got in a wreck from your driver's seat to the windshield.
Yeah. The other thing was there's like a cover for the truck bed part.
Yeah, it covers up this.
Is that if you want it to be like a truck, that means you want that open all the time. The problem is you have no back window anymore because it goes into it and it blocks your window.
It reminded me so much of when they let Homer design a car, and he put every like
functional. It had 360 views in the glass thing. This is like, I remember when I first saw this, I was like, okay, this guy's a dick. Like, this is like designed by an asshole. I mean, everything about it, they say like I've heard reviews about Tesla. They said they're really shitty made cars. They have like the seams on them are really bad. They start falling apart. Like just like the interior, like they're just poorly made. It's not really a car company. Like
right. It's an idea company.
Yeah. I mean, he's been grifting off of that for years. I mean, the whole self-driving thing, he made tons of money from investors and it didn't work. It was imagine this thing as a self-driving car. It's gonna kill like tons of people. That's my like nightmare. Was it paralysis demon they call it? Fucking car. Like if I saw that on the road, I would be like, oh my God. And the kind of person who drives that car is a horrible driver. The person who like wants to own something stupid like that is just such a dumbass. Like he's looking at his phone when you're driving.
Yeah.
It's awful. It's really gross.
I am it just looks like a mess. I mean, I can't imagine anyone of sound mind or spirit buying that vehicle.
It's a terrible. I mean, you saw the reviews. Let me see if I could play it real quick. The thing I sent you.
Yeah.
It's not that long.
No, it's just a minute or so. And the guy brings up a whole bunch of good points in a real quick period of time.
And on top of that, he announced that he's going to bring he's thinking about bringing Alex Jones back, which is like, oh, you don't want advertisers? You're upset?
Sure, bring back Alex Jones.
Ridiculous. There's like 5 other things I'm going to show you with this truck that are just terrible. There's another picture of the dash. It is just crazy how deep that space goes. Like you could probably sleep up there. And that is terrible for visibility. This isn't a truck that raises itself 17.4 inches off the ground, so visibility is not going to be great in the Cybertruck. This one is also just crazy to me. I had no idea about this. Your gear select is up at the top where your sunglasses holder would normally be. Your gear select would normally be in like a convenient place where your hand is resting, like down in the center console or on the.
Yeah, it's in a really stupid location.
But the Cybertruck does not have stocks. It is stockless. You have to press a little button on the steering wheel to indicate a lane change. Then we have the wiper, which I believe is the largest production wiper in the world, does not clean the entire windshield. So the passenger isn't going to be able to see much of the road in this situation. And another fail for visibility in this car. Another fail for visibility is that the tonneau cover blocks the rear windows whenever it is in use. So if you have the tonneau cover up, which you probably want to have up most of the time, you cannot see out the back windows. You have these insane edges, which are just going to eviscerate anything you hit, which is a big part of the reason the Cybertruck is probably not going to be street legal in Europe. And finally, there are no door handles on this truck. So there's a little button down here that you have to press that will then like electronically push the door open, and then you grab the stainless steel and kind of awkwardly pull the door the rest of the way open. So if your car is like iced over, it's not going to be much fun trying to get into this thing. Also seems like it might be an issue with like emergency situations, but I don't know. Okay, this is the area between these.
Okay. The guy's name Mole Scroll.
So
Yeah.
most scroll on TikTok. Yeah, I mean it's a dumb card made for dumbasses who have way too much money to dumb things. And the grifter, let me see that thing real quick about it. I saw that on Twitter just now, or X, sorry. The quartering. Think about how much letting Alex Jones back on X would make the machine rage. Elon Musk, it's time. Then Elon responds. That's how you know
Lord.
Loser Elon Musk is, that he's responding to the quartering.
Yeah. Right.
Consider, in general, since the platform aspires to be a global town square, permanent bans should be extremely rare. Also, if he does say something false on this platform, then community notes will correct him.
Lord.
That not be the case elsewhere. Let's hold a poll. I hope he brings him back. First thing I'll tweet back, Alex Jones, you're a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. You know what I love about Elon Musk's Twitter, though? I could post almost anything.
It's true.
It doesn't matter anymore. I like it. I like this. Like I could, the Nazis can say all the horrible things. One guy said something about like, I can't believe a guy with the last name Israel's a liar, and I was like, what do you mean by that? What is that about?
Yeah.
I'm still trying to figure that out.
It's a puzzler.
Yeah. So I tweeted. I made this drawing along. Not really. It's like I just took one of the drawings I did of his head and I drew these like dicks. And swastika, and it's a new logo. And I said, Elon Musk commissioned me to make him a new logo for X. It's been months and he never paid me for this new corporate identity. And then people were like, typical that he wouldn't pay. Like, do you think he paid for this? Come on now. Like, come on. Do you know what a joke is? Like, yeah. Why won't Elon Musk pay me for this logo? He commissioned me. He was like, it's a little too edgy. Someone wrote, it's beautiful. How dare he respect you after you captured his likeness? Someone wrote, imagine owning a social media platform running so well that its users post things like this on your platform. Doing a fantastic job. What else was I going to say, though? Oh, this is the last thing, and then we'll move on to the last thing. Did you see the Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay, did you see how like all the right wing are freaking out over it, and like even Elon Musk was like, "I don't like it because you tech ops or something stupid." Like
sure.
The right wing is like attacking it. They're like, it's woke and all this shit. It's really fucking funny.
Yeah, I don't see their criticism there. I mean, I rarely do, but I don't know. I guess I hadn't read too much about the backlash, but
it's just
I saw the trailer.
These guys, well, first of all, it's not even coming out to like 2025. That's a long time from now.
Yeah.
But these guys will, I always say this, the right wing in this country will always expose themselves. They try to act like, you know, they're like, we watch superhero movies, we do this, we like these things, we like punk.
Right.
You hate this stuff. You're lame as fuck. And you will reveal yourself to be the Christian conservative weirdo that you are, or that you pretend to be. Like, they will always reveal themselves. The idea that they're attacking this game is ridiculous. You know who was attacking this game too? Was criticizing it? Andrew Tate.
Oh yeah, come on.
Andrew Tate like sells himself as someone who would be
like a gamer. Yeah.
Like, no, like a character in the game.
Right. Yeah.
Like, that's how he sells himself. And he's trying to like bring up morale. It's like he's talking about cops. Like, dude, aren't you like going to jail for
yeah.
Like it's really funny their reaction to it. I think because there's like a girl in the game.
Yeah, probably.
There's never been a girl in the game before. Never been a girl character. Right?
Yeah.
It's just been dudes, right? There's never been a girl.
Well, I mean, like as far as playable characters, I think you've only played as a male so far.
In video games in general?
No, in the Grand Theft Auto series. Yeah. All right. So here's
was really woke, and I got really angry when it came out. This Pac-Man. I was super pissed.
Yes. Stupid.
Yeah, this is woke. You know.
All
Telling
right,
me
so
they're going to leave the kitchen, start eating pellets and fighting ghosts on their own? Unacceptable.
our last topic was self-checkout. You said that a lot of big stores are moving to get rid of self-checkout
Supposedly,
because
that's what I heard in like this article, that expect them to be phased out.
phasing it out.
I saw, like I said, one of the Targets that I go to sometimes. There's one Target, I call it the stupid Target. That one like doesn't even have anyone working there, so you do have to use the self checkout for everything.
Yeah.
It's so bad. They look, the bed area to like bag your groceries is so small because it was not designed to do. It was designed to be like, here's your 5 or 6 items.
Right.
I don't mind self checkout when it's like that, but I remember before I moved here, moved from Texas, I remember going to like a Walmart and seeing like this insane pen where there was like 20 self checkouts and they were huge, and I was like and they were like some moderators and they had like screens, and I was like, why the fuck? This is like a miserable experience.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Do all the fucking work. So supposedly they're going to start phasing some of these out because you're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe this, but it's actually cost them a lot of money to not pay employees and to try to pass the buck on to. I think did I send you that guy talking about it?
Yeah, you did. And I have over the years, I spend a lot of time on Reddit, and there's always people talking about like ways that they rip off self-checkout. One woman, I think this was in the video you sent to, would like print her own barcodes at home and make everything like real cheap prices. If you look at the video, she's just checking grocery. I mean, everything looks good, but that's not what's happening. She's like,
I don't condone that at all. That is real thievery.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, there's a difference between real thievery, but like I've gone to check out groceries and I scan something, it doesn't ding. Scan it, doesn't ding. Scan it, dings
if a MacBook
twice.
Air accent, like I scan everything, like $75 to $100 worth of like groceries and stuff. And the MacBook Air accidentally forgets to get scanned. I mean, now I think you got to get that removed from the security.
There are some like legitimate theft issues, and you're right. I mean, I don't condone that, but like I also have seen plenty of instances, like in my own life, where I scan a bunch of stuff. There's nowhere to put the shit, so you start putting it back in the cart. The machine is telling you to put it on the belt. There's no room to put it on the belt. I mean, like all this shit is happening. Then you get to the store and you're like, did I ring up this Apple? Like, I have no fucking idea. You look at the receipt and it's like 7,000 numbers. Like,
God forbid you have like a coupon of any kind or like that. Like it's bullshit. You should not have. They are passing the labor onto you. Here, let's just listen to this guy real quick.
Yeah.
Everybody on Earth is stealing from self-checkouts, and that happens in 2 ways. One way is hilarious on purpose master thieves. This Australian person printed homemade barcodes.
That's it.
And stuck that on sticks and appliances. They're also using entire subreddit trading tips on how to steal from self-checkout with moves like the banana trick, which is where you take an expensive item, ring it up by its weight, and punch in the weight of something cheap like a banana. However, almost all theft from self-checkout is not theft on purpose. It is the accidental oopsie kind. We're tired, we're busy, we easily forget or miss a scan. And that theft adds up. One study of a store in Leicester found that they lost more than 4% of all their earnings just at self-checkouts, almost entirely due to accidents. But stores keep installing self-checkouts because they'd rather turn you into this cartoon character than pay a cashier.
The cartoon character is of a bandit, like a bandit with a. I mean, this was, like I said, I don't mind the self-checkout for like 10 items or less. And that's really all it should be used for. It's like, okay, I don't want to be stuck behind like the family with 3 carts to go get milk. Like I think is personally, like that's perfectly fine. But when they started making it that it used to be 4 cashiers and now there's only 2, and there's these self-checkout ones that are made for
big orders, and I saw that first at like Walmart years ago.
Yeah.
Mastered that, where there'd be like literally like one fucking cashier. This was the Walmart in Narrowtown, or where you still live.
Yeah, yeah.
It would be like maybe one or two cashiers at most, and there would be like 8 aisles of there'd be the quick self checkout. That line would always be ridiculously long, and then there would be these like more traditional looking, but you're the cashier too. And I would always use those because I just wanted to get the fuck out of there, and I didn't want to wait online for the cashier. But that's bullshit. I'm like,
Yeah.
I should not have to ring up a full grocery, be responsible, and correctly scan everything, like, because I don't work for you. Like,
Yeah.
it is
It's
not
just
my job to enrich the company. My job is to buy my items and leave. And if I make a human error, well, you didn't train me.
yeah. And they didn't
I wasn't trained
reduce.
job.
That's the thing is that
your job.
well,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And the Walmart you're talking about, I go there pretty often. It's gotten worse. They sometimes don't have any human attended registers open. They just have a bunch of self checkouts. And a lot of people will get in there and they'll have like a full shopping cart of shit. It takes them forever to go through there. It's just like it's very.
And why would
awful.
you expect them not to? Because
Yeah.
they don't fucking work there. That's not their job.
Yeah, I can't wait until it changes. I hope it changes.
It'll be a while, but like I said, I think Walmart was one of them. And again, if you lost money, well,
Good.
I don't care. Fuck you.
Yeah.
You fucking didn't want to pay people, and you're supposed to be, you move into a community. This is why Walmart always sucked. They always said that Walmart would never really bring money back to the community. They were like parasites.
Yeah.
But let's say just like a supermarket like Kroger or whatever, right? And they have tons of self-checkout stuff. And it's like, you're supposed to be this like community store. You should hire people.
Yeah.
Because you're part of the community and you give people jobs. And then you start doing bullshit like self-checkout. You make the experience miserable. You're turning my job into fucking work. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you're turning going to the store as work. Like I said, I don't mind doing it if I have like 3 items. Like,
that's a convenience. If I'm getting like milk and bread or something, or 6-pack of Schlitz and some wrapping paper.
Condoms, you know what I mean, bro? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I do appreciate the convenience of that. But they didn't moderate it. It should have just been.
No, they got greedy. They were like, now we're going to start turning like this into full loads. And again, and the worst is when they do it in where they don't modify it, and there's still this tiny bed because it was only meant for like bags.
3 items, yeah.
Yeah, then it's bullshit. And you're like moving into the car and it yells at you. You're like,
it's fucking crazy. Yeah. Half the time I wind up having to put my groceries literally on the floor. Like,
you have no cashiers. You're not providing me any options, and you're accused now of theft. Get the fuck out of here. Like, I have no pity for any of these companies. So hire, maybe this is the actual headline real quick. I said, like, hire people, you cheap bastards. Like, I mean, that's really that's unfortunately, it's just extremely cynical. It was like meant as like fuck you unions, fuck you, and good. They find out after a year or two of doing this a lot and making it worse. They're like, oh yeah, this is we're actually losing money.
Yeah, well, that's what they've done with the soda machines. They figured out that someone can actually drink 700 ounces of Baja Blast, and if you're not having someone pour it in a cup, I'll stay there all day. But anyway,
here's the article. Real quick, self-checkouts will be scrapped at Walmart, Costco, and Wegmans. So
nice.
It's starting there. It'll end up in like pretty much. Self-checkouts at big retailers like Walmart and Costco could soon be gone. I'm surprised they haven't at Costco. I don't know. I have no idea. I would imagine they wouldn't do that there, but.
Well, at Sam's Club now, I go get my items and I scan them on my phone as I pick them up, and then I just show some guy at the door. There's not even cash registers.
That's weird. What if a phone doesn't work?
Oh, I mean, there are cash registers, like I'm sure in parts of the store, but it's like I don't use them.
They have it at Whole Foods. They have these carts that if you put the item in, it like scans it. I don't know. I haven't used it yet. I'm like,
Fucking Skynet.
Yeah, I don't trust it. Like, I don't want to walk around with that fucking thing. I'll just stick it in the shopping cart. I don't need that getting away with how I do things.
Yeah.
It's funny, and I just think it's like the attempts these companies go through to not hire people, to reduce labor, to reduce humanity hours, and like all that, and then it bites them in the ass.
Yeah, these are the same people that will pay a consultant $1 million to screw their employees out of like 50 grand worth of benefits.
Yeah,
I mean, like, that's what they'll do.
Yeah.
They're like.
They do it all the fucking time. You're like,
I've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes.
I'm always like, are you incredibly dumb, or is this a grift? Is there something like this guy, and like you're both gonna collect the money? Like, you know what I mean? Because that wouldn't shock me one bit. Like, I pay you, and you give me back like,
part of it,
and
it's awful.
It happens. It does. But yeah, that's insane. Like, screw over people over a couple $1,000s of benefits. They'll pay some clown to give them a bunch of ideas that they're not going to use next year because one, they might be out of business or it didn't work.
Yeah. Oh wow. All right. Well,
pay people. And again, like, doesn't it? I'm sorry, I don't enjoy it. Like, it ruins the experience of like shopping. Not that I want to deal with a cashier half the time, but like,
I don't mind dealing with a cashier.
No, honestly, but I mean, it depends. Sometimes they're weird.
Yeah, true.
But I mean, like, no offense. You guys know what I'm talking about. Anyone who's that person knows. But again, it's like, that's not my job. Like, I used to be a cashier. Like, I used to do that when I was in like high school and college for supermarkets, and it's a pain. It was a pain in the ass job. I have to count my journal. So when I go to the Easters, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like,
fuck that.
Yeah, like you said, you should get 5% off your fucking bill.
Yeah.
For doing that.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Look, you know what? 2%. 2% off the bill. Fine.
All right.
You know what? On that note, I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
Still going on about
that.
Thank you for listening to You Still Going On About That. Please like, comment, share, and if you haven't done already, please follow us on Instagram, YSGOAT, Facebook, YSGOAT, and Twitter, YSGOAT. Thank you, and have a great day.